Congrats.
Which feels like the first day of the last day of the Earth.
Oh, goodness.
Is that too dramatic?
Yeah, that's pretty dramatic.
Well, because it's not true. I know I'm going to wake up tomorrow. Well, I know some people will at least. I will say though that it hasn't been a good weekend for me. Like I spent too much time yesterday arguing with two fucking boneheads, and I'm guessing they're going to watch tonight because they can't get enough of this. I don't know why.
You're a big celebrity. That's why.
But just two absolute I mean, and I'll say when I say boneheads, I say that I use the term loosely, you know. But
You're
they're
just talking about you were arguing with two rando people on the internet?
Yeah, just people who are like coming and arguing stupidity.
Okay.
And like first of all,
Well, that's unnecessary.
First of all, I just want to say that, you know, from the very beginning on this live, all the way back in TikTok, I'm certain all the way back in TikTok, on this live, we said numerous times that the sexual harassment claims don't matter. And whether or not the sexual harassment claims were, met any kind of standard or threshold didn't matter.
To make it clearer, the sexual harassment claims shouldn't have mattered to Baldoni and Heath and the people that he hired in his publicity firm. It shouldn't have mattered enough for them to start a smear campaign.
Okay, well, that's not what I'm talking about.
But because they did, all of a sudden they do fucking matter.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. But yes,
not?
no. What I'm talking about is that they shouldn't have fucking mattered. I'm sorry, that they don't matter. The sexual harassment didn't matter. From the very, 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 very beginning of this case, Blake Lively said the sexual harassment was a pain in the ass. And what we've learned through the depositions was similar to things we had been saying on this live from the very beginning as well, which was that their problem with Justin Baldoni was his hypocrisy more than anything.
Yes.
That this guy was going out and setting traps because he's being this supposed, savior to feminism, right? And instead, he's this thing, right? Who treats women like garbage, right? Who says inappropriate things without thinking, who runs a toxic set. Ange Giannetti said in her deposition, it was a shit show. Well, that shit show was being run by Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath.
What's worse about it is it's not just that he says toxic things without thinking. I don't know if that's exactly what you said, but that he says whatever he calls, he admits that he has impulsive speech as if it's part of his condition or something. But he
choose a different fucking profession, I guess.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Maybe he shouldn't be in leadership roles, but like the
security guards, man, alone at night, perfect.
The worst part about it is that he seems to have this problem where when he gets called out for his inappropriate behavior, he seems to resent people for it. And he also gets really paranoid that they're going to attack him for the things that he's done instead of just manning up, right? If he was man enough, maybe he would actually just be able to confront the problem instead of coming up with all of these big elaborate schemes that people are crafting against him and then reacting to that. I mean, the thing is that the craziest part about this whole situation is that what we've seen Justin Baldoni himself do is create the situation that he was trying so desperately to avoid. It never would have happened if he hadn't reacted so badly.
The point that I'm trying to make is that Blake Lively filed this lawsuit because of the retaliation. I got involved in this in terms of covering it. I wanted to cover it because I have lived through and still live through being slandered, being defamed, having my life and reputation ruined by people who have the ability to do so.
You're talking about celebrities using the media to trash your movie and your work.
So I'm just saying that the reason I'm involved in this thing isn't because I wasn't involved in this thing because of the sexual harassment, because, as despicable as harassing anyone on a set is, it wasn't why I got involved in covering this case. I got involved in covering this case because of the publicity campaign, the crisis PR campaign that they fucking launched against Blake Lively to destroy her name and destroy her credibility. And they did so because regardless of whether or not the sexual harassment claims met some kind of threshold or standard, and they fucking did. Yeah. But regardless of the fact that, whether or not people think they did or think they didn't, isn't what's relevant here. What's relevant is that the only reason Blake Lively the only reason Megan Twohey wrote the fucking New York Times article was it had nothing to do with the sexual harassment. It had to do with the fact that because he was called out on the sexual harassment, he chose to launch a defamatory campaign that destroyed her reputation and destroyed her career opportunities.
But you're right. The reason why you started talking about this in the first place was because it was so obviously a smear campaign. You could tell that the things that they were saying about Blake Lively and trying to frame her as somebody who stole a movie was totally bullshit. The reason why I brought it to you because you're a filmmaker, you've got experience, and I was like, hey, this whole wardrobe controversy sounds like bullshit. Is it? And you were like, yes. Let me explain why. And that was the beginning.
Well,
because it was the smear campaign that got you into it because they're exploiting everybody's ignorance about. That wasn't what got me into it.
I didn't. That's when I knew that it was bullshit. Yeah, yes. That's when it was easy to call that it was bullshit because those kinds of problems on sets don't make news. Those kinds of problems on set don't fucking blow up movies.
Yeah.
Those kinds of problems on set are everyday fucking problems on a set.
I don't know, because M. Serrata brings up a good one. When Justin Baldoni he required everybody to give him daily hugs, and I say required because when he would be denied a hug, he would get all pouty and sullen, and he would change the vibe as the leader of the set. M. Serrata said the daily hugs and pouting when denied also shows it was more than words. That's not normal. Those aren't normal set problems. That's not just a creative differences.
Well, no, that obviously goes down to the shit show. But that's a shit show. Again, as far as sexual harassment goes, it's a garbage sexual harassment claim, if you ask me, to be like, oh, hugs and kisses, or no, kisses would be one thing, but hugs.
Well, he did try to force a kiss on her multiple times. We saw in that
well,
dance scene.
That's different. I didn't mean to open that box. I'm saying the hugs are a form of or evidence of the shit show or the hostile work environment or these kinds of situations, right? But they're not something that require litigation. Again, if Justin Baldoni had just shut his fucking mouth and just gone through it, right, and let his movie go make $400 million in the box office, this guy would have a great career right now.
Yeah.
He'd have a great career right now. He'd still be working. There wouldn't be a problem. He would not have the problem.
What? He never would have learned that his crisis PR people he wouldn't have hired them. But he never would have learned how easily duped he is by people like Melissa Nathan.
Well, I mean, and he still hasn't anyway, so it doesn't matter. He's impervious to that. He also never
would have learned that a film by credit is a vanity credit.
Well, so what? The point is that that had he just kept his fucking mouth shut and gone through the fucking process of this, instead of being this big, injured, fucking crybaby, none of this would have happened. You know what would have happened? And this happens all the time in Hollywood. There would have been a reputation floating around about him in Hollywood that most people would have just rolled their eyes at, that most people would have not given a fuck about, because the sexual harassment claims that she brought, though totally fucking unacceptable, weren't going to be enough to stop Hollywood from this kid earning money the way he was earning money. Because Hollywood, just like every other fucking organization, they care about the money first. They don't care about anything else.
Do you think people lose opportunities from, do you think being a creepy director is a deal breaker? Or do you think that if you're a creepy director who doesn't actually ever cross the line and get really handsy, that maybe you don't get, it's not a deal breaker?
It's not a deal breaker. It's not a fucking deal breaker at all. Dude, listen to this, dude. There's a movie, a movie called Powder. Right?
Yeah.
And that movie Powder, that movie was directed by a person who was accused of sexually fucking assaulting a kid. And Disney gave him a job. And the only reason, yes, and it was a Disney movie, and Disney gave him a job. And the only reason Disney didn't bother with it is because nobody knew about it until it got blown up when somebody did their snooping around about who is this director? Oh shit!
Yeah, but you're talking about Disney didn't know about it. I'm talking about if Justin Baldoni went forward in his career, if all of this hadn't have happened and he never started a smear campaign, if he never tried to retaliate against Blake Lively, are you with me?
I'm right here.
Okay. If he only had a reputation for being a creep who does too many kissing scenes, who tries to improv sex scenes that are really lewd.
Yeah.
If he was only somebody who solicits hugs all the time and then gets all sullen when you deny him.
Yeah.
Do you think that would have been a deal breaker for him to get more work?
No, not even close. At the very most, it would have been they would have said, "Hey, can you cool with that shit, please?" Or, "You know what? We totally want to work with you, but there have been complaints, rumors around Hollywood that you've got this culture, and that culture is not acceptable for us."
Yeah, but they didn't change as a result of the complaints they did get on this set.
That's not the point that I'm making. The point I'm making is that if he hadn't brought the fucking the crisis PR. If he had, there would have been no New York Times article.
Yes, I know.
Megan Twohey would not have anything to write about.
Right. It's her.
The only thing
her
she
beat
had
is retaliation for sexual harassment.
That's all she had to write about. Everybody
all
thinks
she
the New
ever
York
writes
Times.
about.
Everybody thinks the New York Times article. You know, all the Baldoni fans. They think the New York Times article was about sexual harassment, and it practically had nothing to do with it. So that was merely the catalyst to the problem that she wrote about, which was retaliation.
Yeah, her subheading for the article was "Inside a Hollywood Smear Machine."
Inside a Hollywood Smear Machine was the fucking title, but yet all these Baldoni fans can't get their fucking head around the reality of the situation.
You have to understand, it's very convenient. It's very convenient to narrow your focus on something that is deniable, as opposed to things that are not deniable, right? Like the things that are continuing to trial.
Listen, I think it's I keep calling them Baldoni fans, but the truth is all these Blake Lively haters. I think there's a good portion of them, maybe even the majority of them, don't really give a fuck about Baldoni. They just want to hate Blake Lively. Why? Don't know.
My favorite part of this,
I guess because she was rude to Kirsty Flaw.
My favorite scandal in this whole thing is the Van Sham lawsuit scandal. Because when in the history of everybody have we given a shit about whether text messages that actually admit wrongdoing were obtained, in a forthright manner or not? Right? That the text messages exist, that the scheme has been revealed. That's what we always care about. Everybody who's ever, enjoyed true crime or any of these like investigation podcasts or anything like that the evidence exists is what matters. Whether it's admissible in court has never bothered anybody. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's my favorite part. Because it just shows you how much they move the goalposts when it suits them.
Yeah.
You know?
Victoria says Sony said that Blake Lively made a huge mistake and that she buried herself. No, they didn't. Sony didn't say that. Somebody at Sony said that. Sony didn't say shit.
Yeah.
And also, if you want to listen to fucking Sony, why don't you listen to the actual head of the fucking studio who called Blake Lively a genius?
Hey, I don't appreciate the way you're talking to our chat.
I don't care. Why isn't that why isn't that top of mind?
I think you should be
because you pull things conveniently out of your little fucking purse of fucking insults to throw at Blake Lively so that it serves your damn narrative.
I think you should have some compassion for the people who have been very terribly manipulated. I feel sorry for them personally. I feel sorry for them, and so I feel like it's just a little strange that you want to beat up on them when they're already so beat up.
I'm not beating up on anybody. I'm fucking irritated, bro. I spent the weekend listening to.
Don't be irritated at them. They're not. They're.
I can be irritated at whoever I want.
This is true.
I don't. I spent the weekend and look, it was my choice to do this, and I could have just walked away, and I didn't. And honestly, I can't wait till the case is over so that I can be done with all of these fucking people. But and look, you can look at our subscribers to see how much people give a fuck about A, what we say, or B, about anyone who actually cares about the truth in this case, instead of just bashing on Blake Lively. If we were sitting here bashing on Blake Lively, we'd probably have tens of thousands of subscribers right now. If we were sitting there, if my story was Blake Lively did to Justin Baldoni what Leonardo DiCaprio did to me, they'd be piling in, they'd be throwing money at me, they'd be doing all this fucking garbage. Instead, they're getting the actual truth from me, or they're getting my interpretation of the actual truth, and for them that bothers them. Did Cosmic Energy is asking if I knew Donovan Leitch, and I did not know Donovan Leitch.
Do you know who that is?
No. Do you?
It's a recognizable name. That's a celebrity name, ain't it? You don't get named Donovan Leitch and then not get your name in lights.
I don't even know if I'm saying it right, actually.
Musician and songwriter, 79 years old. No, Donovan.
No.
The musician, Donovan.
Donovan. Oh, Donovan Leitch. No.
Scottish musician?
I mean, I'm old, but.
Did I know him?
My circles were, Why is such a weird question? You're just trying to change the topic.
Ione Skye is Donovan's daughter?
Oh, really? I never met.
Donovan Leitch, he had a kid he also named Donovan Leitch. And that guy is 58 years old.
Oh, so somewhere around my age. That Donovan Leitch, I see.
Did you know him?
Let me see. No, I would know the name. No, I didn't know who that is.
Yeah, he was in 1988, 89 movies.
I think the only I knew two people in Hollywood who had famous musician parents. I knew Blake Sennett, whose grandfather was, what's that big band guy? Sorry, Blake, I don't remember your grandfather's name now.
Let me just look this.
It's like a big band guy. I can't remember Glenn. I don't know. And then Bijou Phillips, daughter to Michelle Phillips.
Goddamn, I can't remember.
Listen to this. Listen to this stupidity. Victoria says, no one is insulting Blake Lively. Get it straight. Oh, really? Oh, is that true? You know, you're
No
so
one?
fucking full of shit, bro. Is that true? Let me just see. Let me just see your fucking stupid comment. No one's doing that, Dale. You're just a big meanie. You don't even know what you're talking about. Let's just go to one subreddit. I'll just go to one subreddit, which, by the way, I'm no longer posting at. I've chosen to leave that sub forever, because all they do is you're so fucking full of shit. Like, this is the thing that's driving me nuts about these people. They're just full of shit.
Oh, Victoria says, I honestly think that Blake is trying to settle this. They're just...
Of course you do. Of course you do, because of course you do.
When do we get to the reading part?
Hang on a second. Alan's out. We get to play with Alan for a little while.
A scientist said, how have you missed all the juvenile nicknames?
It's just fucking ridiculous. What a stupid statement. Honestly, it's just a stupid statement. But I'm gonna play with it, because what the hell?
Victoria says, no one is bashing her. She made a mistake and now she has to live with it.
Oh, you're so full of shit,
She's
Victoria.
She's going to win in federal
You're so
court.
full of shit.
Is what she's going to live with.
You're just living in a fucking lie. Blake, if you're releasing a statement this long, you're lying. Let me see. Let me see here. Crazy Blake. Here's a headline that people have upvoted to. Crazy Blake Lively. Yeah, that's fucking perfectly fucking sane. Is back on Instagram after her meltdown. There was no meltdown. Now, if I go into the actual comments, and they talk about her, all they say are things. Listen.
Perez Hilton, he came up with a bunch of names.
Go to my.
Really
just go to the comments and just go to our comments. Snaky Slively, and like, they just make up all these fucking stupid names, and all they do is bash that woman into the ground.
I have a question for you.
And treat her like trash for something that isn't even their fucking business to begin with. But what's your question?
Did you always feel like you were missing out because you didn't have a name that somebody could like rhyme with some insult?
What are you talking? My name is Dale. It rhymes with jail. It rhymes with pale, nail, fail. Oh, I've had that one a few times.
Fail?
Yeah. I guess you haven't thought through the.
I've been fortunate that neither my first name nor my last name is one that people can rhyme in an insult.
Yeah. So Dale, just watch how it plays out. Victoria, I'm watching how it plays out.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly. And I can tell you right now that here's how we know how it's played out.
Yeah, in the comments, oh boy, how dare we bash Plantation Barbie Blake Lively.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Plantation
guys,
Barbie is
like, do you see? That's not how you speak kindly about people. So what else is it?
No, look, it's pure hatred for this woman. And it's hatred that she doesn't deserve. You know, like, it's one thing to like not like a celebrity. I have plenty I don't like. And I don't think the world's supposed to act like me, and I don't try to act like the rest of the world, quite frankly. But it is sort of my benchmark for reasonable sanity is my own bloody self. And that anybody spends any amount of fucking time in their lives pursuing their hatred of this woman or anyone, frankly, in online or otherwise, to me is just a certain form of madness that I can't comprehend.
Yeah, right.
But that to pretend that they don't do that all over this fucking issue is absolute insanity.
Tangerine Gora is with us today.
What's up, Tangerine?
The judge was smart. He actually did a service to Lively. The jury will not have to see lawyers and witnesses arguing about the incidents of SH. We know that this in a court are harmful for victims.
Yeah, I think you're completely right about that, and I also think that Blake Lively.
Instead, the jury will have to focus on the smear campaign and not be distracted by the objective views on SH.
Correct. All they have to do now is prove that she filed a complaint
Yep.
That's all they have to do, and that complaint was in good faith. And we have the trusty testimony of Jamie Heath and Justin Baldoni, who both under oath in their own testimony said that her complaints were in good faith.
There are a lot of really clarifying things in the judge's order about the complaint that she filed. You say filed, but that she just voiced a complaint. One thing that I thought was really interesting is for retaliation to count, it doesn't even have to be, the complaint of SH doesn't even have to be valid. She just has to be making it in good faith. But if later on in a court they determine that it wasn't actually a valid sexual harassment complaint, it does not matter. The retaliation still counts because she made the complaint in good faith and they reacted in a legally inappropriate way. So it's kind of irrelevant whether it was I mean, I definitely, I saw with my own two eyes that he was repeatedly harassing her in that video.
Yeah.
When he was forcing a kiss on her and not communicating to her what the direction was.
The horny growl was enough for me, bro.
Oh my God. It was just nuts.
We're talking about an MOS shot. We're talking about an MOS shot.
She was working with her director as her scene partner and she was confused about what was expected of her and what he was going to do says everything, right?
Yeah.
Why was he trying to force a kiss on her the whole time without explaining?
Victoria says that she actually liked Blake Lively before all of this. Watched pretty much all of her movies, but let me tell you, this situation has been very revealing of her true character. And how is that?
This is a really interesting.
And how that's
a really common.
That sounds like
fallacy.
bullshit to me. Maybe you're being honest, but it sounds like bullshit.
That is a really common tactic that people use.
It's called the line and redirect. Yeah, it's an old school talk. Like she probably doesn't even know she's using it, but it's called a line and redirect, and it's bullshit.
Yeah,
that's bullshit. And it sounds like bullshit. And so, I'll just
take it from me. I used to be on your side. I used to agree with exactly what you agree with, but now I feel different.
Yeah, and also, what did Blake Lively do? Complain about somebody who she? By the way, here's the fucking funny part about all this shit. Everyone's like, "Oh, Blake Lively." By the way, just let me do this real quick before I get onto it. Cosmic Urgency is saying that they're on the set. Donovan Leach. Is that right? And Pedro Pascal are on the set for Denochi, which is the gay movie with Todd Haynes.
Oh,
so it's a
little Donovan Jr.'s in it.
So it's a go, and that's exciting. That is exciting. I'm happy for Pedro. I'm happy for Don Haynes. I'm happy for Joaquin, who got out of a lawsuit.
Cosmic Urgency would really just like to talk about current events instead of all of this bullshit.
Yeah,
you're not the only one.
Jacqueline said it's concerning what the judge said about the dancing scene, and we'll see. But I don't think the judge is going to change my mind about the dancing machine or dancing scene.
Dance.
I don't care what the judge really says about it or his opinion about it, as far as what he thinks was appropriate or inappropriate. But we'll see what the judge says about that as we read.
About the dancing machine?
Oh, you didn't say Donovan was. Well, who are you saying? Oh, okay. So it's not Donovan Leach. Never mind. They're on the set of. There are pictures of the set of Pedro just on that Todd Haynes set. I got you. All right, well, that's exciting. Yeah, man, I'm excited to see that movie. I'm very interested in what Joaquin was dealing with internally with his. I
know it was like urges. Brilliant marketing. If Joaquin can't even bring himself to do it, it must be good.
Yeah,
it's like for everybody that liked Heated Rivalry, you're gonna love this.
No Dale, says Victoria, who is just somebody you absolutely should trust. She has to convince a jury panel that she had valid claims. That's not true, Victoria. You don't know what you're talking about. All she has to prove is that she made the claims and that they were in good faith. She does not have to prove any validity toward them at all. That was thrown out by the judge you are so happy about these days.
The burden was on the producers and the company, the production company, to handle her complaints in a manner that was following legal protocol, right? They didn't. Okay. And then instead they retaliated. And that's why she continues to have a case that's going to trial.
You're confusing the good faith. My guess, Victoria, is that you're confusing the good faith aspect with validity. It's not, there's no validity involved. There is no such thing as validity in sexual harassment because sexual harassment is very much a subjective thing. It's not an objective thing. If I say something that you find offensive, which I'm sure happens on this live more than once, you can decide that that's offensive for yourself. And it may not be offensive to everybody else present. We have 34 people right now. Record-breaking day. All right? And the 34 people that are here right now, you might be the only person who finds what I'm saying offensive. If you are the only person who finds what I'm saying offensive, you still find it offensive. You know, and there's no law out there that's going to change the way you feel. If any individual in any workplace environment or otherwise feels sexually harassed, regardless if everyone else around them agrees or disagrees with that, doesn't change their good faith feelings that they are being harassed. And so if they were feeling like they were being harassed and then filed a complaint that they felt they were being harassed, despite the fact that everybody else in the whole fucking work environment didn't think that they were being harassed, that would not make their comment, will not make their comment, what do you call it? In good faith or out of good faith, or what would you call that? In bad faith. Mm-hmm. You got me all flustered, Victoria. You got me flustered. Listen, man, I can assure you fully and completely that Blake Lively made good faith
Justin Baldoni says so in his deposition.
Justin Baldoni says so himself. So does Jamie Heath. And beyond them saying and already admitting under oath that her claims were in good faith, she wasn't the only fucking one. This is the other part you guys can't get through your fucking head. Blake Lively wasn't the only one complaining on that set. Isabella Ferrar complained on that set. Blake Lively complained on that set. Jenny Slate complained on that set. Alex Sachs complained on that set. So stop pretending, bro. Somebody called Isaac said we're both wrong. Her complaint is real and valid. Oh, we're not wrong. That's not the point. She has to prove that they retaliated because she complained based on the protected activity on January 4th. Correct. She has to prove that they retaliated because she complained. 100%, which I think is a slam dunk. I think that's just as easy as it gets. In fact, we already have under his deposition, we have in his deposition, we have, what's his name? Justin Baldoni. We have Justin Baldoni in his deposition stating that he knew that she was complaining about sexual harassment. Even if he disagrees, this is the thing you don't understand, Victoria. He can disagree. He can say it wasn't sexual harassment, and it doesn't matter. Her complaint still is in good faith. There's no validity here. This isn't about validation. This is about, intent, ultimately. And it wasn't her intent. Listen, man, she got involved with this dude because she thought this dude was going to be a good guy. She got involved with this guy because it was a good property, Colleen Hoover, right? #1 best-selling book. So it was a good property. And this guy had a good record. According to her, she didn't do her due diligence either, right? She didn't know about the other lawsuits, lest we forget that Justin Baldoni, unlike Blake Lively, has been sued multiple times for harassment, for discrimination, for retaliation. Not to mention theft of intellectual property. Do you know what I'm saying, mate? Are you with me?
Are you watching the time?
Yeah.
I don't know what your plan is here today.
Just trying to get
because I know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, I know. Look, listen, I don't mind engaging with people. This is a part of what we're here to do. Also,
I just didn't know if you were watching the time about it. Because I'm having a great time.
Listen to this bullshit. Buzzy Buzz Buzz 760 says Justin hired a crisis PR because Blake was forcing co-stars to unfollow him on IG. That's such bullshit. It's just such bullshit. And even so, that still doesn't constitute his the retaliation.
Yeah.
You keep talking yourself in your own fucking corner. That doesn't mean he can retaliate against her. She can go. Listen, you can tell people to unfollow me. People tell people to unfollow me all the time on this fucking channel. You think I give a shit? And do you think that gives me some kind of rights to defame people or to harm them or to intentionally try to destroy their reputations?
Okay.
It doesn't, dude.
I've been searching this whole time because this the judge's ruling is pretty dense. Okay?
Yeah.
So check it out. To prevail on
I am fucking angry, actually.
Okay, but check it out.
Now somebody called me an angry dude. No, I am. They don't understand that.
Stop looking at the chat.
They don't understand.
Stay with me.
That Alan is out.
Okay? Just listen, because I found the thing. The judge cited other, hey, eyes up here. To prevail on a retaliation claim, the plaintiff need not prove.
Now, this is coming right from his ruling?
The judge's ruling, but he's citing another case. This is...
As they do.
I'm not going to read this, like the last names in this case are bonkers. Okay. To prevail on a retaliation claim, the plaintiff need not prove that her underlying complaint of discrimination had merit.
Oh, just read it one more time for Victoria, please.
There's more.
Victoria, this is for you. Start over.
To prevail on a retaliation claim, the plaintiff need not prove that her underlying complaint of discrimination had merit.
Do you see that? It doesn't need to be valid.
Put another way, a plaintiff may bring a retaliation claim where she has opposed conduct she reasonably believed to be discriminatory.
That's all that has to happen here, and the judge says that she did.
Even when a court later determines the conduct was not actually prohibited.
So neither they don't have to come together. They're not puzzle pieces that fit together. They don't have to be puzzle pieces that fit together. Do you understand? Do you understand now the clarity of law? The law states, bro.
That's like in the middle of the page.
And by the way, this is shit we were.
That's on the middle of page 97.
Page 97, Victoria, if you want to lick your fingers and start flipping through the document pages. So
okay, so is this settled then?
So is it settled? She doesn't need any. And this is why and this is why Tangerine's not. I think Tangerine's right. You don't have to. Look. I think it could have been more confusing for the jury if they're sitting there trying to prove the validity of and the not just the validity but the the sexual harassment was of the sort that would be disturbing to anybody, right? So it's such a subjective thing, like if I'm sitting there and talking to somebody on my set about how somebody has a real sweet ass. And the dude behind me doesn't care, and the dude beside me doesn't care, but the craft services person walking behind me, walking past overhears and does, I got a fucking problem.
Yeah, that's right.
And it doesn't mean if the three other people around me were laughing and high-fiving because I'm talking about somebody's sweet ass on my set.
Sweet ass.
No, you got to go all the way.
Hey, fellas, check out that sweet ass.
I don't know who Victoria said talking to, but she said you guys are reaching. I hope you're not talking about the judge. If you're talking about the judge, that was the judge's words in the judge's fucking decision.
The judge is reaching into case law.
Yeah.
If that's what you mean.
If Justin was the worst guy in the world with lots of complaints against him, that doesn't mean he did anything to Blake Lively. No, it doesn't. I never said it does.
Hey, keep that same spirit when you're criticizing Blake Lively. Just because she may have fucking mouthed off on somebody like Kirsty Flaw before does not mean that she...
Right, just because she was mean to Kirsty Flaw.
Yes.
Right, just because she got married on a fucking plantation.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That same energy.
Yeah. So it's the same fucking energy. But no, it's not about that. But the point being is that people are ready to, destroy Blake Lively, are destroying Blake Lively over all her past instances, yet she's the one who's never been sued by anybody for any wrongdoing on any set in her 20-plus year career. Justin Baldoni has been at it for 5 years with that production company at the time of the lawsuit, 5 years at the time of the filing of that lawsuit. And in those 5 years, he'd been sued 3 separate times outside of this fucking lawsuit.
It's an incredible run.
It's an incredible run, dude. And if you can go ahead and ignore that, but I think it does certainly speak to.
But you want to label, but they want to label Blake Lively difficult to work with. Well, he's the one who keeps getting sued every time he works with anybody.
I got the classic, in the comments this weekend. I got the classic Kirsty Flaw bullshit. You know what I mean? Like somebody's like, "Oh yeah, she was mean to Kirsty Flaw."
Who gives a fuck?
Nobody talks about Parker Posey.
Look at how she's behaved. Blake Lively wasn't mean enough
to prove
is the way that I feel.
Well, I agree. Kirsty Flaw to me is utter trash.
Look at the way she's behaved.
Complete fucking trash of a human being. And I believe personally, though I have no evidence to prove any of this, this is only my speculation. I offer it to you for entertainment purposes only. It is simply an opinion, and the opinion is my own. But I believe that Kirsty Flaw was paid to do that.
Because what else is the...
And I believe that was done through channels in the same way that the mob does their shit through channels.
What else is the explanation for why the fuck this lady, who has a whole life of other things she could be doing, is devoting so much of her energy to this one fucking beef with Blake Lively?
Yeah.
She's got to be getting some fucking kickback for it. It's crazy. You know, like if I had a career in entertainment like Kirsty Flaw did, I would definitely be doing something else. You know? That's crazy to me.
Dale and his misogyny is showing, says Buzz 760.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, I'm the most misogynist guy you ever met. Let me tell you, all I have is a reputation as misogyny.
Oh, because you were talking about somebody's sweet ass? How do you know he wasn't talking about a man's sweet ass?
Yeah, how do you know it was... I didn't say there was a woman involved in my sweet ass comment.
Maybe there was a donkey on set, like an animal handler or something. And you were like, sweet ass. You know?
Yeah, right.
Maybe you're the misogynist,
a well-groomed
bro.
donkey.
You're just gonna like arbitrarily label it a woman's ass.
It's like a well-groomed donkey is a
Get
funny
your
joke.
head out of the gutter. All right, can we move on?
Listen to this. This is so funny. Listen. I just want to talk. No, we don't have to move on yet. This is way too much fun. This is hilarious. And I just want to point out the hilarity of this. This is what Victoria says. I truly believe, this is what she says. This is how fucking closely paying attention these people are. I truly believe, says Victoria, that she will be paying Justin millions.
For
How?
what?
How?
What did he lose?
The jury can't fucking award Justin Baldoni anything.
No, this is impossible.
Justin Baldoni doesn't have a case.
This literally is impossible.
His entire case was thrown out, Victoria. I need you to get with the reality of the situation. Justin Baldoni has no case.
It's an
before the court. The judge, the jury, nobody, not you, not anybody, can find for Justin Baldoni. His shit got thrown out.
Amazing.
Bro, man.
I mean, here's the thing, though. It's like, that's a really good example of like, maybe you should just take a seat because you're not paying attention. Like, there are people here who are like, today, I spent all day reading through this judge's order. Now I have an understanding of things. I recommend you do it because then you wouldn't make mistakes like that. Maybe the rest of your assumptions about this case are flawed also. Because thinking that the jury can award Justin Baldoni anything when that's literally not the mechanism that the federal court has in this case is just flawed thinking. You know, it's just sad. I don't know why these people are they're so confident in their in this incorrect information. I don't understand it. Like, I don't know. Maybe I am too. Whatever. We all have biases. But.
Somebody called me Angry Dale, which thank you. I appreciate that. Justin can still appeal Angry Dale. Okay. He still doesn't have a case right now.
No.
He can appeal. Everybody can appeal decisions. But right now, as we sit here, there's no case going before any jury. Mm-hmm. Right?
So there's no awarding him.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
So he can't get an award, can he? Right? And if he wins the appeal, then there's going to be a separate trial, obviously. Unless he can win the appeal by May 18th, which I think you and I both probably agree he cannot. Come on, bro. Somebody called me Mr. Wheatley, which is so weird because like calling me Angry Dale is fine, but Mr. Wheatley kind of offends me.
Offends you? Why?
Palette Marat says.
I know why it offends you. Because the last time you were called Mr. Wheatley, you were in a lawsuit. They called you Mr. Wheatley because you were a party to a lawsuit.
I don't deserve any respect, is what I'm saying. Don't be silly, Dale. He can appeal the case that got thrown out. And he can also seek sanctions when he wins the case in May. He can't win the case in May. But he can either win or lose. That's it. He can't win anything. All he can get is found not liable. That's the only thing that can happen is that he can be found not liable. There is nothing he can win. I mean, yes, it's a victory for him if he doesn't get held accountable for his clear retaliation.
Yeah.
But if he gets lucky enough to somehow escape and squeak through the retaliation. And by the way, I want to remind you of something the judge said. And I can't quote the judge exactly, but I'm just going to remind you that the judge said when he dismissed Baldoni's $400 million PR stunt of a lawsuit, he said very succinctly, there appears to be strong evidence supporting a smear campaign. He also said that Wallace did in fact appear to, the evidence suggests that Wallace appeared to smear Blake Lively with things not even related to the case. And again, I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me. But you feel free to look it up. It's all there. All right, you want to start reading this shit?
Well, I just think we ought to because there's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Jacqueline's here for it, and we made a promise. Look, the chat's blowing up, and we got
Yeah, but is it a bunch of fucking bots or what?
No, there's actually some good stuff going on.
Just this whole ruling is 152 pages, and I got through like 45 of them the last time that we were talking about this. I have a lot to read today, but I just don't know how long you want to continue to read this. Maybe we should just get through it. I think it would be good to have it down because people don't have time to read these things on their own, and nobody else is just, dictating it. I mean, I guess people use AI readers or whatever, but when they get into the numbers and the case law, that's got to sound really bad. if you have like some digital reader tripping over all of the case law citations.
Yeah. Victoria wouldn't consider Justin's behavior harm if... I'm just taking the... Bye, Verapine.
You're trapped. You're stuck. Captivated. Entranced. Unable to pull yourself away. You have become one with the chat.
She stole the man's movie. Oh, you guys just keep saying the same nonsense. Oh, fuck, people just don't even know. Yeah, the same movie that he still owns.
Yeah.
The movie that he's still credited as the director for.
He didn't lose anything.
He didn't lose anything. In fact, he bought a new mansion in Tennessee with the money he made off the fucking movie.
7,000 square feet?
7,000 square foot mansion.
I don't think that
in Tennessee.
He's not crying about it, guys.
He had the same back end deal as Blake Lively. He probably made $8 to $10 million alone just on the box office. You guys are being so fucking fooled. It's ridiculous, man. It really is. It's just ridiculous and it's infuriating because I got to put up with the comments. And I mean, I do because like I want to answer them and I want to be cool with people or whatever.
You do.
But this weekend I got battered a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just so much.
Shake it off, bro. Because you know what? There's much weirder shit going on in the world than this.
Well, I mean, if you think that's not factoring in.
That's true.
There was hope though. That there was the whole Walter Reed thing. I was like,
I know. Oh my God. For 5 minutes, we're like, could it be happening?
I told you though, my astrology reading on this was that Donald Trump is going to get removed from office, and I still think it's going to happen.
I'm not holding my fucking breath.
Well, you shouldn't because you would die. But so please breathe through it. All right, Angela.
Yes.
Who's with us today and every day is going to read for you the judge's decision. And for those of you who are sitting here and defending this nonsense, stick around for the whole fucking thing, even if it goes on. It will go on for more than one day. Because I'm going to interrupt and scream and shout. But if you stick around for the whole thing, you'll recognize that the judge did not dismiss the sexual harassment claims based on their validity.
That's right.
He did, in fact, make some comments about some of the claims she made and saying that they didn't have foundation, things like, whatever, phone calls or whatever. But let's go on.
Okay, so Blake Lively started out with, I think, 12 or 13 causes of action, and a lot of them seemed a bit redundant because she was citing different laws. Yeah. So it was like sexual harassment in violation of this labor law, sexual harassment in violation of this California law, right? So it was like federal labor laws, there was California labor laws. Anyway, those ones got thrown out, and the judge has to clarify why, okay? So a lot of this is like just that ruling, this is like, I'm still in the beginning of the document. This is page 45.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. It's informative about why she's no longer able to pursue those things and why it's based on technicalities. This is important for us to understand, or at least for Baldoni fans to understand, because his case has not gotten any stronger. His defense has not gotten any stronger as a result of this.
Yeah.
Another thing is that, what was I going to say? I can't remember. Oh, the three.
They were not shit.
The three contracts.
Yeah.
That are at issue here is the offer letter that she initially got to perform her services. Okay.
Yeah.
Where she said she was going to perform services as an actor on the film It Ends With Us for 6 weeks, and then the strike happened. So those 6 weeks, that time lapsed. So they needed to make a new contract.
Yes.
Okay. Regardless.
Yes.
So by the time the strike concluded, they needed to make a new contract because she was no longer bound by the previous agreement because that time had lapsed, the 6 weeks that she had given. Okay. So that's important. So the offer letter. Then there was the actor's loan out agreement that has a lot of the rules about what she will or won't accept, and then a lot of the things that she asks for, like travel and per diem and shit.
Yeah.
And then there is the CRA. That is what does that stand for? The CRA. I don't know why I'm spacing right now. Do you know?
Civil rights?
No. The CRA
CRA.
is it's an actor's...
Oh, loan out agreement?
The actor's loan out agreement is called the ALA in this. And then the CRA... Yeah. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I'm spacing because I was thinking about this all day.
Ricardo said, as I understand it, Blake said she was an employee when in fact she was a subcontractor. Well, I guess you should throw her in jail and,
No, but
take all of her things. I mean, it just has nothing to do with it. She said that that her, despite being an independent contractor, what she means by that is that she's covered as an employee.
I'm sorry, it's the contract writer agreement.
Okay? The contract writer agreement, yeah.
So part of the contention is that the contract writer agreement kept referencing the actor's loan out agreement, but the contract that the contract that Jamie Heath was like giving her an ultimatum to sign, where he was like, we'll give you more days in the editing bay if you sign your contract. What he's referring to is the actor's loan out agreement.
Yeah.
And what we learned last time we were looking at this judge's ruling, and what I didn't know before, is the reason that Blake Lively didn't sign her actor's loan out agreement is because she had added anti-sexual harassment language that Wayfarer Studios wasn't willing to accept. So the reason why the actor's loan out agreement signature was pending was because they were not going to agree with her on having, and basically the language was, if I see inappropriate behavior, sexual harassment behavior, I get to walk. And the Wayfarer Studios was like, no, the fuck you don't. So that was why they couldn't agree on that. And so there's been a lot of fight in the court about whether the contract writer agreement, which was supposed to be in addition to the actor's loan out agreement, was going to be invalid also because the actor's loan out agreement wasn't signed. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
This is why this part of the document is kind of dense. All the juicy stuff is later on, after page 100.
I'll just rip through it then.
Okay, cool. So the judge says the CRA is enforceable. He says, Lively's attempts to enforce the CRA, and in particular its provisions specifying that there shall be no retaliation of any kind against artists for raising concerns about the conduct described in the letter, stands on firmer ground than the actor's loan out agreement that wasn't signed.
Before you continue, just really quick, Ricardo, you're wrong. And not only are you wrong about her not having protections as an employee, that there are provisions for that in New Jersey. There are provisions for that in... listen, I'm going to ask you to put on your thinking cap. You think that independent contractors can just be unilaterally sexually harassed without consequence? You think there's no protections at all in the world for people who are independent? So I can just make somebody an independent contractor and then completely harass them throughout their entire stay and be completely off the hook because they're independent contractors? Put your thinking cap on, bro. And also go look at the law. The laws in California.
The judge addresses that. Exactly.
Yeah, the judge addresses it. It's not true. You don't know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
Is this a safe space?
No.
Okay.
Dude, I have little spittles.
Should I repeat
I have spittles.
myself?
I have spittles. I mean, no, you don't need to. I have spittles all over my keyboard.
Okay. It's like, how are we supposed to reorient after the big distraction?
Just reorient.
Okay. Lively's attempts to enforce the CRA, and in particular its provisions specifying that there shall be no retaliation of any kind against artists for raising concerns about the conduct described in the letter. It stands on firmer ground. The production company makes two primary arguments why Lively cannot enforce the CRA. It argues that the CRA was not binding because it made reference to the actor's loan out agreement and thus had no force prior to the actor's loan out agreement adoption. Second, the production company argues that the CRA was not supported by consideration. That's a legal term I've just learned about today. Neither argument has merit. The court starts with the production company's argument regarding consideration. I'm skipping some citations, but this is the gist. Consideration is often defined as some right, interest, profit, or benefit accruing to one party or some forbearance, detriment, loss, or responsibility given, suffered, or undertaken by the other. Okay? It's well established that the slightest consideration is sufficient to support the most onerous obligation, which means, basically, a contract can be valid if you're like, I will give you $1 to build my entire house.
Yes.
So the slightest, you said the slightest consideration is sufficient to support the most onerous obligation. Sorry. And that the courts are not to inquire into the adequacy of consideration. Although courts will not second guess the fairness of an agreement or require equivalence in the values exchanged, there must still be something or real in the eye of the law that both parties agree to give up. If a promise is so insubstantial as to impose no obligation at all on the promiser, who says in effect, I will if I want to, then that promise may be characterized as an illusory promise. In other words, a promise in form but not in substance, and it will not constitute consideration. Okay. Regardless of where the burdens in this case fall, there is sufficient evidence in the record to conclude that the CRA was supported by valid consideration. In particular, when the parties entered into the CRA, Lively's legal duty to return to set for the second half of production was at least doubtful or subject to an honest dispute. Remember, because she had only signed on to do 6 weeks. And because she was an independent contractor, she can go and get more work. So she might just not be available, and they don't have a say in it.
Yeah, I mean, they were so fortunate that she was available at all.
Yeah, that's right. The offer letter, the only agreement by which she was bound to perform, required her to provide exclusive principal photography services for up to 6 consecutive weeks during the run of production. And filming paused for 1 month into production due to the Writers Guild of America and SAG-AFTRA strikes. By its terms, the offer letter did not oblige Lively to commit to more than 6 consecutive weeks of principal photography. Now, of course, Baldoni exploited this. He got all twisted up and upset because he says she's just going to take her ball and go home. She's just going to walk. Like it was some big threat. Like, no, literally, she was not obligated to return to this
They
production.
had an obligation to get her back under contract.
That's right.
Hockey players do it. Baseball players do it. Basketball everybody else does it, bro. You can't just fucking... She's not chained and bound to somebody because without an agreement.
He turned it into her, like, stomping her feet and making some demand, okay?
Yeah.
And then, of course, that got exploited by his publicist, and that turned into all these articles that she's like making threats or something, okay? Even Brian Friedman in his lawsuit was talking about how she was making threats to leave. She literally is not bound by any contract to stay. Okay? This is what the judge is clarifying. It makes sense to everybody who's in this business, except for us out here who got exploited by the publicists who were like, you guys don't know how this works, so we're just going to tell you that she did this on her own. By its terms, the offer letter did not oblige Lively to commit to more than 6 consecutive weeks of principal photography. Her duty to continue with filming at that point on a different schedule than the one previously agreed to was therefore subject to at least some uncertainty.
They have pay or play in the business.
Yeah.
And pay or play is all about that because you try and lock somebody down to a specific time frame, and then you as a producer don't come through with that time frame. You still owe them the money.
Yes. Exactly. That's the only guarantee they have because everything is so
because their calendar gets ate up, bro.
Yeah.
And they also lose roles, subsequent opportunities or parallel opportunities that they chose that they chose to turn down in consideration for the one that they signed on to.
Mm-hmm. Her agreement to resolve that uncertainty by returning to set constituted valid consideration. That is what the CRA, in fact, recites. It states that the parties wish to confirm the conditions upon which Blake L., that's her loan-out company, has agreed to cause Lively to render acting services on the film following the break in production of the film related to the strikes. The clear implication is that absence agreement to the conditions, her loan-out company would not cause Lively to return to set. And because it was unclear whether her loan-out company had an obligation to cause Lively to return to the set and whether Lively herself had such an obligation, the CRA was supported by valid consideration and is binding. So that's why it prevails.
Violet's arguing with the judge and saying it's us. Oh my God, she says, she did not complete the 6 weeks before the strike. She did not complete 2 full weeks, which pushed back the production. I don't think you guys have all the facts. You're talking to the fucking judge. We're reading his ruling.
No, those are calendar obligations. Bro. Those are calendar obligations. Those aren't span of time.
The days that she's committed to work are the days they have to get her to work.
Yes, literally.
They can't. It's not 6 weeks. Any 6 weeks.
No, 6 consecutive
You can't be
weeks.
like, oh, I signed on for 6 weeks. Okay, well, we're going to shoot you for 2 days now, and then 2 days in a month, and then 2 days in 6 weeks. Come on, man. Put our thinking caps on, bro.
Thinking caps?
Yeah, put your thinking cap on because you don't have a thinking cap on if you think that. That's nonsense. That's just utter nonsense.
The production company also argues that the CRA is not enforceable because it makes reference to the actor's loan-out agreement, and the actor's loan-out agreement was not executed. That argument has no greater merit. The CRA states that it shall be deemed incorporated into the actor's loan-out agreement. The CRA also states that in the event of a conflict between the CRA and the actor's loan-out agreement, the terms of the CRA govern.
And this is why that clause is in every contract you sign when you have something that precedes the previous agreement.
That's right.
If then, it's an if then clause. Then they're come on, keep going.
It is clear. Don't throw a pen. Someone could get hurt. It is clear that the CRA does not make entry into the actors loan out agreement a condition precedent to the execution of the CRA. This is why I could never be a lawyer. I'm sorry. What is the sentence? It is clear that the CRA does not make entry into the actors loan out agreement a condition precedent to the execution of the CRA or to the parties' obligations under it. As previously explained, a condition precedent is an act or event other than a lapse of time, which, unless the condition is excused, must occur before a duty to perform a promise in the agreement arises. Are you with me?
I am.
Okay. The CRA sets forth a series of promises by the production company, none of which is conditional upon there being an actors loan out agreement, and each of which is stated to confirm the conditions upon which Lively would return to work.
Like everybody in business affairs are like, okay, we have to make sure in the future that it's conditioned upon. You know?
Yeah.
Like now, it's like these are the kinds of things that set precedents for business affairs to like make sure that contracts are binding, throughout.
Mm-hmm. See, even if you don't get a signature, you can still make it work, right?
Of course.
You know? In context, the reference to the actors loan out agreement means nothing more than that were the actors loan out agreement to be executed, the CRA would be deemed incorporated into it and not superseded by it. In other words, the CRA contemplated the possibility that the parties would enter into the actors loan out agreement, and it set forth how the CRA would apply in the event of that contingency. It was not itself contingent upon the signing of the actors loan out agreement, and that's the argument that the Wayfarer parties made.
And didn't prevail.
The parties' conduct confirms that understanding, as they both performed under the CRA, notwithstanding continued negotiations over the actors loan out agreement. The Wayfarer parties took steps to implement the CRA's requirements, including by hiring a new producer. Lively, for her part, returned to set for the second phase of production. The CRA thus carried independent and binding force.
So the CRA is the 17 point.
The CRA was a result of the 17 point.
I see.
The contract rider agreement. So it was a rider onto her contract, like new shit that they added.
Yeah.
Yeah. New shit that they added is legal speak, by the way. Yeah. I learned that because I'm an attorney.
Dude, man. Just take the bar.
JK.
Be done with it.
Okay. It ends with us movie, the production company. Okay. They argue that even if the CRA is enforceable, Lively's claim for breach of that agreement must be rejected. The production company again relies on the notice and cure provision in the actors loan out agreement, but no such provision appears in the CRA. Of course, where there are multiple integrated agreements, those agreements are to be read as a unified whole. Citing generally all writings which are part of the same transaction are interpreted together. But here, there is only one agreement, the CRA. Yeah. Because Lively never agreed to the actors loan out agreement, she cannot be deemed to be bound by its terms. Indeed, as explained above, the intent of the parties in making reference to the actors loan out agreement was not to incorporate all of its terms, including the conditions precedent and the notice and cure provision, but to ensure that if the actors loan out agreement were ever adopted, it would not supplant or supersede the CRA. In order to uphold the validity of terms incorporated by reference, it must be clear that the parties to the agreement had knowledge of and assented to the incorporating terms.
I mean, it's and it just makes perfect sense because the last thing you want to do is create some kind of subsequent agreement that reflects the changes and the dynamic happenings of life and business. You don't want to supplant those with signing some retroactive agreement that was in negotiation.
Yes.
Not realizing that there were some contradictory terms to those new clauses
but also,
or conditions.
By the time in January, when the CRA was something that they agreed to and signed, they were still negotiating the actors loan out agreement for months and months. So, I mean, they're two independent things.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. The production company also argued that Lively's claim under the CRA fails because she cannot prove damages. And this is interesting. People were talking about this online, that they tried to curtail her ability to ask for damages in the trial in 4 ways. This is where it comes in, okay?
Yeah.
The production company
It's already stupid on its face, though. That she can't prove damages is already stupid on its face.
That she can't prove damages?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just dumb coming out of their mouths.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It Ends With Us movie, the production company, makes 4 arguments in this respect. Number 1, that Lively cannot recover consequential damages, or what California law calls special damages, under the limitation on damages clause in the actors loan out agreement. the one they didn't sign. Okay. Number 2, Lively cannot recover emotional distress damages for breach of contract. Okay. Number 3, Lively's alleged contract damages are improperly duplicative of her alleged statutory damages. So they don't want double jeopardy there.
No.
Number 4, Lively cannot recover damages for the lost profits or royalties of 2 entities that she controls, Blake Brown Beauty and Betty B Holdings LLC, for lack of standing and because such damages are speculative. None of these provides a basis for granting judgment on Lively's CRA claim. To begin, the Wayfair parties argue that nearly all of Lively's asserted damages are consequential or special damages, and that such damages are barred by a provision in the ALA, the Actors Loan Out Agreement, stating that in no event will any party hereto be liable for or have any obligation to pay the other consequential and or incidental and or special and or punitive damages. The argument fails for the same reason that the notice and cure argument above fails. No analogous provision appears in the CRA. The parties never agreed to the Actors Loan Out Agreement. They are not bound by it. Okay? Second, the production company argues that under California law, a party cannot recover damages for emotional distress, including distress from loss of reputation as a result of a breach of contract. And isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck not?
It makes no sense.
Somebody ruins your reputation, you're not allowed to get damages for being absolutely upset and having that distract you from your life and work and family.
And just feeling the stress and I mean, stress kills.
I know.
I mean, this is like science, proven science.
So weird.
A scientist is here, she could tell you.
What the hell? Okay. Under California law, a party cannot recover damages for emotional distress, including distress from loss of reputation as a result of a breach of contract. There may be some question with respect to the reach of that doctrine and its applicability here. Citing another lawsuit, when the express object of the contract is the mental and emotional well-being of one of the contracting parties, the breach of the contract may give rise to damages for mental suffering and or emotional distress. The court need not reach that issue here, however, as Lively does not ground her opposition to the summary judgment on the basis that she is solely entitled to damages for emotional distress and loss of reputation. So that's done. Third, It Ends With Us movie, the production company, argues that Lively's contract claim is improperly duplicative because she seeks recovery for the same damages under her statutory causes of action. The cases that the production company cites, however, stand for the proposition that if a plaintiff proceeds on 2 claims, each of which seek damages for the same injury, the plaintiff will not be entitled to double recovery. Lively's statutory and contractual retaliation claims will present their separate challenges at trial. So Lively need not forego one theory of recovery at this stage in order to pursue the other. So that's gone. Finally, the production company argues that Lively cannot recover for lost profits to Blake Brown Beauty and Betty B Holdings. Lively responds that she is not seeking relief in her capacity as a shareholder, but rather direct damages to her own business reputation in connection with her own legal claims. The court has the authority under Rule 56G to determine a fact that is not genuinely in dispute, including on an item of damages. However, the exercise of that power is discretionary. The court can decide that it is better to leave the matter for trial. In this case, the parties devote only a few pages to Lively's theory of damages. The issue is better addressed at trial or prior to trial through motions in limine directed to the admissibility of evidence or argument. So he's like, hot potato. I'm not doing that.
Well, he's not, he's hot potatoing that to the trial, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, Lively's employment status, right? This is where we're talking about whether she's an employee.
Yeah, well, we know she's an independent contractor, but yeah, go ahead. Let's see what the judge says.
Okay. Lively's first and second causes of action allege harassment and retaliation in violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Her fifth cause of action alleges retaliation in violation of California Labor Code. The Wayfair parties raised the threshold issue of whether the laws cover Lively in the first place. Under both California and federal law, the question whether an individual worker should properly be classified as an employee or instead as an independent contractor has considerable significance for workers, businesses, and public generally. That's a quote. California Labor Code similarly requires the plaintiff to prove... I'm sorry, they're doing a bunch of citations. Let me skip.
Working through the citations. Be right with you.
There's so much on this, obviously.
Stay tuned. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Okay, it appears that a prerequisite to asserting a violation of labor code is the existence of an employer-employee relationship at the time the alleged retaliatory action occurred. Lively's sexual harassment and retaliation claims under these provisions can therefore proceed only if she was an employee rather than an independent contractor. The court will assess Lively's employment status under Title VII and California Labor Code sections in turn. Okay, legal background. Let me see. I skipped this part. Yeah, I skipped 2 pages. So that was, if you guys want to read the legal background section, that's on page 54 and 55.
Let me do this because this is our scientist is asking. Can I clarify using insults like snake lively and whether that's permitted in our chat? Well, look, I think it's a difficult question because I think that people speaking about people in public, I think it's fine. I think it's ridiculous. And I think it's practically shameful to do. Calling somebody snake lively is just so petulant and ridiculous.
It does say more about the person commenting than it does about their
just
target.
Where I was going, but it says a lot more about them than it does about Blake Lively.
It's kind of dumb.
But because they're talking about somebody in the public view, I say it's fine. I say it's permitted if there is insults being slung directly at individuals, then it should not be permitted.
Oh yeah, and if you make anybody uncomfortable, that's on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if somebody gets offended, like that's directly on you.
But let me let me add some let me clarify that if they get out of control, if they start using extremely derogatory terms, then they should be silenced for that. So like if they're saying, like if they're calling her, horrible, like Snake Lively it's like a child thing. It's stupid. But if they say something like using the C word or, other really phenomenal. I mean, look, how do you feel about it? Let me know in the chat. I think because she's this famous person in the public eye, it's kind of fine.
I feel like that sort of thing is like
it's like me calling Trump the orange, dictator.
I think a lot of people just eye roll at things like Snake Lively, but if it's upsetting people, then there's your answer, Like nobody, we're not trying to let people hang around that are upsetting people. Shall I continue? I know it's riveting.
Yeah.
I know you can't wait. It's a page turner.
I love it. Keep it going.
It does. I mean, it's unbelievable how readable it is,
Yeah, of course. Well, they speak the same language.
Sometimes they don't. Okay. Shall I?
Yeah.
Sure. I'm not convinced.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say that it's up to the mods. If you feel like somebody's being completely out of line, then I'm going to leave it up to you. You're mods for that reason.
But if they're making stupid jokes and not upsetting anybody,
but just use discretion. In other words, like if it's not truly harmful, they can't harm Blake Lively in this situation any more than she's already been harmed. So
yeah, I'm more concerned about other people being upset about.
But I'm upset about
bullies.
but I'm concerned about the chat.
Yeah.
So if you think it's upsetting to the chat to the extent that it's offensive, and then in that case, I would like you to moderate it. If it's just them making fools out of themselves, please let them keep throwing shit in their own face. It's fine with me.
Can we thank these folks for watering our garden so nicely?
I don't understand.
You had mods working on the chat and asking questions about how they can do a better job. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we have good mods.
Yeah, isn't that nice? Thanks, guys.
What do you want me to do?
Should I?
Yeah, please continue.
Okay. You're still dealing with this though, right? Or what? Am I waiting for you? Or are you waiting for me?
I'm gonna make Deanna mod.
I'm just on hold then, I guess, okay?
No, keep going.
Okay, but I don't know.
I said keep going.
All right. The analysis is not indifferent to the congressional intent. Okay? He's talking about the labor laws protecting employees or independent contractors. Okay? The analysis is not indifferent to congressional intent. A person who may be deemed an independent contractor for purposes of the work for hire provisions in the Copyright Act, where the rights to intellectual property can depend on contractual terms, may nonetheless be an employee for the purposes of Title VII, where Congress intended to create public law rights public law rights that were vested in workers as a class and not subject to waiver or sale by individuals. Thus, while factors such as employment benefits and tax treatment might deserve special considerations in the work for hire context, where workers and employers are first to allocate intellectual property. See, he's citing an intellectual property law, but he's clarifying the congressional laws by doing so. Thus, while factors such as employment benefits and tax treatment might deserve special considerations in a copyright work for hire context where workers and employees were free to allocate intellectual property rights by contract, those factors are entitled to less weight in the employment discrimination context, as firms could use individual employment contracts to opt out of the anti-discrimination statutes. As the Second Circuit explained in Eisenberg, the core substantive protections of the anti-discrimination laws were not intended to be skirted by the terms of individual employment contracts. The most important factor in determining the existence of an employment relationship under Title VII is that control or right of control by the employer, which characterizes the relation of the employer and employee and differentiates the employee or servant from the independent contractor. Does that make sense? Probably not.
It does. It's very interesting. Go ahead.
The degree of employer control is the foundation for Title VII's limits. Independent contractors are thought not to need Title VII protection because such contractors already have a degree of control over their employment.
I couldn't disagree with this more, but yeah, it's just so interesting because it's as if there's no consideration for liability.
I know.
So it's like you can harass me, and that's fine. I can take my ball and go home because you've harassed me. I can lose my money and my opportunity to earn. That's right. And can't sue you for it because it's sexual harassment, but you can sue me for a breach of agreement because I've walked off the set as an IC who has the autonomy to do so, according to the law. It's just the law is tripping over its own shoelaces in this, in my opinion.
He cites these things called Reid factors. It's the name of a person, REID, and I missed the part where he establishes what this is. But Reid factors are all the factors that establish whether somebody is an employee or not. And obviously this comes up in a ton of labor cases, okay?
Yeah.
The presence or absence of each Reid factor raises a question of fact, but the ultimate determination as to whether a worker is an employee or an independent contractor, that is, the balancing of the Reid factors, is a question of law. Okay? The presence or absence... Oh, sorry. I just read that part. Based on the undisputed facts, no reasonable jury could determine that the plaintiff was an employee. The court may not shirk from stating that conclusion. Okay? Lively agreed with the production company, a company formed to produce a single film, that she would perform a specified role in the film based upon a pre-agreed script with a pre-agreed director and a pre-agreed co-lead. The offer letter between the production company and Lively's loan-out entity, pursuant to which Lively performed and was bound, gave Lively important rights both with respect to the film and her participation in it. No change could be made to the script, the director, the co-lead, or double, if any, for Lively without her permission. Lively had rights with respect to her hair and makeup. Section 8 of the agreement is titled Approvals, and it states, this is from Lively's agreement, artist will have mutual approval rights over the following: hair, Ann Carroll pre-approved; makeup, Vivian Baker pre-approved; and wardrobe personnel. Stand-in, stunt double, if any, the screenplay, the director with Justin Baldoni pre-approved, and any replacement. And
just by the way, I just wanted to point out the screenplay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So she wasn't taking over the film.
She wasn't taking over the fucking film.
In her
she was exercising her fucking right.
Yes.
Because, by the way, all the fucking movie stars who are fucking big, giant movie stars have this right almost all the time.
They approve the screenplay.
There are exceptions, when you're working with people like Woody Allen before his disgrace, but even after his disgrace, you probably don't have any screenplay rights for a guy like Woody Allen or a guy like, but even James Cameron, bro. I mean, I literally sat in a meeting where Leonardo DiCaprio's manager was fucking telling James Cameron that he's got to fucking take Leo's notes. James Cameron. And Leonardo DiCaprio before Titanic, before the release of Romeo and Juliet, when all he was a name my mom couldn't pronounce.
I mean, he was Oscar nominated. So
yeah, he was a big.
But James Cameron had to take Leo's notes on the script.
James Cameron had to take Leo's notes on the script. Yes.
Okay, so this is basically just saying that she can't be an employee because she has too much control. She has to be an independent contractor under this scheme. Okay. Lively had rights with respect to hair and makeup. See Section 8 of the agreement is titled Approvals, and it states, artists will have mutual approval rights over the following: hair, Ann Carroll pre-approved; makeup, Vivian Baker pre-approved; wardrobe personnel, stand-in, stunt double, if any; the screenplay, the director with Justin Baldoni pre-approved and any replacement; and the co-lead for the picture with Justin Baldoni pre-approved and any replacement thereof. Meaningful consultations over the look of the role. So she did not take over wardrobe. That's in her contract.
This is such common shit. This is what drove me crazy about this in the first place. It's common shit.
Yes.
And yes, they ran up the budget a little bit, but it was like it wasn't even 20% of the contingency.
No, they didn't think
It was
so either.
absurd.
Meaningful consultation over the look of the role, ad campaign, and release pattern. Hair and makeup personnel are exclusive to the artist, so she's not going to share those with other people. That's normal. Peter Owen is pre-approved as the wig maker. Okay?
I love what a scientist just said. It's one of the reasons why his whole "she stole my movie" narrative is laughable. If you want solo control, choose a different medium that isn't inherently collaborative, like filmmaking.
That's right. Oh my God.
Fuck's
He
sake.
must have been floundering the whole time.
Well, I think that this was the whole sort of meltdown that they brought upon themselves. Is they didn't understand the true collaborative form. They were in more positions of power prior to the point when they bring on a heavyweight like Blake Lively. When you bring on somebody like Blake Lively, she's gonna get her fucking hooks in, because their entire future, their entire present, relies on the judgment of these people. Otherwise, right? Like Leonardo DiCaprio. One of Leonardo DiCaprio's big soliloquies in our lawsuit and in his deposition was all about how he would never just let somebody make a feature film out of something he did over 2 days. Notice those words, though. Like, he's just the actor.
Yeah,
he didn't own the property.
That's right.
He was just an actor. But there he is, exercising what are more or less his inherent rights as a big movie star, which is that he's going to have control over the content as it relates to him and to the image that he wishes to portray to the public that is paying all of his bills, which are very, very high, particularly when you're taking over things like islands and ruining pristine, prehistoric beaches.
That's right.
Please continue.
It costs a lot to do that.
It does.
Okay, they continue. The offer letter contains additional approval provisions, including Lively's right to sign off on the filming start date of May 2023. Any shoot days outside of New Jersey or New York, her transportation for such shoots, the trailer provided for her on set, the use of her name, her voice, her likeness in merchandise, commercial tie-ins, co-promotions and the like, outtakes and behind-the-scenes shooting, and the use of any such footage, press and EPK crew on set. I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means?
Say that again.
EPK crew on set?
No.
Okay. Press and EPK crew.
Extended
press kit? I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
Okay. Interviews, press releases and statements, use of nudity and or simulated sex in the film, and digitizing or doubling of Lively in any such scenes, doubling of Lively in the film more generally, and use of clips from the film. There is no genuine dispute that Lively's approval rights were honored in practice. Lively's counsel acknowledged at oral argument that there was nothing in the record indicating that the Wayfair parties ever ignored, refused, or rejected Lively's exercise of her approval rights under the offer letter. And then it goes through a bunch of, her extensive involvement in and control over many of the decisions related to the film. And this is heavily citing her PGA letter, where she takes credit for doing so much work. Mm. I'm not going to read all of this because obviously we've read the PGA letter here, but it is extensive. And the judge is making the point that, like, you don't do this sort of thing on a set if you're an employee. You do this sort of thing on the set if you're an independent contractor. Let's see.
Tell that to the COO.
That's 3 pages. If you guys want to see, I'll tell you where it is. Starts at page 59. The offer letter committed Lively to provide 6 weeks of exclusive principal photography services. Plus
6 consecutive weeks.
6 weeks of exclusive principal photography services, plus standard prep services subject to her approval and availability, and up to 3 free post days. At any other point, Lively was free to accept other work and to perform in other films, which she did. The PGA letter indicates that she was shooting another film while simultaneously working a minimum of 10 hours a day on post-production for this film. As for her working hours during principal photography, the offer letter cabined them. I don't know what that means. But anyway, there's a list here of how her work hours were cited. So the undisputed facts reveal that Lively enjoyed a degree of economic independence sufficient to make her an independent contractor. Although not every factor weighs equally in favor of that conclusion when viewed in isolation, analyzing the factors collectively eliminates any genuine dispute. That means that Lively cannot bring a claim under Title VII. The court first analyzes each Reed factor separately, recognizing that they overlap and that certain undisputed facts that are relevant to one factor could also be relevant to others. I'm not going to read these, but there's a list. The right to control. Lively enjoyed extensive control over the means and the manner by which the product was produced, both as a matter of contract and in practice. This is a whole thing. I'm just going to skip these, unless you want to hear them.
Is there value?
Yeah, well, this is all determining why she was an independent contractor.
Well, yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. Let's see. Certain undisputed facts that are relevant to one factor may also be relevant to others. The right to control. This factor favors independent contractor status. Lively enjoyed extensive control over the means and manner by which the product was produced, both as a matter of contract and in practice. This citation, the type of comprehensive control that characterized a traditional employer-employee relationship was absent here. That I thought it was fun. I don't know what this case is, but it was Horror Inc. versus Miller. Was what that citation was from.
Horror Incorporated is
Horror Incorporated.
It's like a fucking Megadeth song.
Yeah, exactly. By contract, the production company could produce only one product with Lively's participation, the film, for which her approval of the script, the director, and co-lead was required before she was bound.
She got to approve the director, people. Yeah. Fuck.
Moreover, the production company could not make any changes to those aspects of the production without her approval. So she did not take control of the film. She had control from the very fucking beginning.
It's so annoying.
And they brought her on understanding this. Do you understand how they distorted it?
Well, they didn't understand it. They brought her on giving her what she asked for,
yes,
but didn't understand what it actually meant.
But they distorted it for people for the purpose of their publicity
yes,
smear
it was
campaign.
about the smear campaign. It was about having people show up here, like this fucking nonsense about how, what was this, whatever. Just, these people fucking, spewing nonsense that they know nothing about.
The production company could not make any changes to those aspects of the production without her approval. She had the right to meaningful consultation, not just over the look of her role, but also over the ad campaign and the release pattern. Her name, voice, or likeness could not be used in merchandise, commercial tie-ins, co-promotions, soundtrack, novelizations, publications, and or in connection with advertising or promotion of a theme park or a theme park attraction without her prior written consent. Let's see. She had the right to approve any behind-the-scenes shooting and any use of footage, any outtakes, the press and crew on set, and any interviews. The production company could not issue a first press release mentioning her as an actor without her approval, and could not issue any additional press releases mentioning her other than as an actor in the film without her approval. She had control over her hair and makeup, and the Wayfair parties did not have the right to cast an actor as her double without her prior written consent. Lively also had power as a matter of the day-to-day reality of the parties' working relationship. Lively described Baldoni in the PGA letter not as an employer, boss, or superior, but as a, in quotes, partner in all creative and logistical concerns. It is undisputed that, among other things, she reviewed and reshaped the production and costume design for all key locations and characters, performed significant rewrites of the script to incorporate feedback from the cast, studio, distributor, author, director, reviewed and instated COVID-19 protocols, led meetings with all department heads, the studio and the distributor, oversaw a team of editors, and coordinated and managed cast and crew's various schedules for the film's press and release. Lively emphasizes that the Wayfair parties had the right to control her performance because she had to render her acting services when and where they directed. Specifically, she states that she had to adhere to a set work schedule and provide exclusive services during filming. This is how she's contending that she was an employee. But these factors weigh only marginally, if at all, in favor of her being an employee. The duration of her work on the film and the start date on which that work began were heavily negotiated. Just as she was required to start in May of 2023 and continue for up to 6 consecutive weeks during the run of production, so too, if the production company wanted to make the film with her, Was the production company required to adhere to that schedule? Moreover, that Lively's time commitment was defined by the task at hand, the run of production, with a maximum number of weeks during which she could be required to work, further suggests that she was not an employee. Lively was hired only for a particular project. The production company could not assign Lively other projects. It had no right to any of her time beyond what was necessary to accomplish that project and what was outlined in the offer letter. Lively, not the production company.
It's just so weird that would limit their liability to her, though.
Well, in terms of adhering to your, having a law applicable to your situation.
I know, I understand, but I'm just saying, like they're in this limited engagement, and this very defined, narrow engagement, right? I mean, first of all, Wayfair is financing, but it ends with us as a separate company. It ends with us as its own LLC. It's not going to be, it's not like that's how films are made. They're not made, when it's a Warner Brothers movie, it's still going to be called, movie, LLC. They form limited liability companies. Everything is an instance or an instance. Yeah, it's just an instance.
Yeah, when I'm saying the production company, I'm not saying Wayfair. It ends with us movie.
Right. So it ends with us movie company. Is this separate entity. And so it's to the extent that based on this limited control over Blake Lively as an independent contractor, it shouldn't that shouldn't give them extra privileges to do things like, I call it a privilege, to sexually harass or protections against things like sexual harassment. It's just a question of
which law applies. Which one can she file her civil lawsuit citing?
I mean, I realize I'm arguing with something that's inarguable, but at this point, at least, and has to be done in front of a
Don't we
a
always
court.
do that always though?
Yeah, of course. But just from a rhetorical perspective, it's like I don't understand how how the law would allow for any individual who appears in this limited form
it's a big problem.
to be sexually harassed without
he said too that the
consequence.
The legislators were very clear that they wanted to see employees as an entire class to be protected by the law, but the independent contractors apparently don't fit in that class, and you're saying they ought to.
This Buzzy Buzz is just so silly. Except they demanded to put Justin's edit back in because of her version sucked. That's not true. You don't know what you're talking about. I mean, you really don't know what you're talking about. You literally do not pay attention to anything. Haven't read anything. You're just here spinning nonsense, dude. That's literally a laughable statement. You have no idea what you're talking about. Go read Ange Gianetti's fucking deposition. Go read it. It'll take you a minute, but go read it. I can tell you can read because here you are. So, go do it. Put a little effort into your hate. Go ahead.
Okay. Just as Blake Lively was required to start in May of 2023 and to continue for up to 6 consecutive weeks during the run of production, so too, if the production company wanted to make the film with her, was the production company required to adhere to that schedule. Moreover, that Lively's time commitment was defined by the task at hand, the run of production, with a maximum number of weeks during which she could be required to work, further suggests that she was not an employee. Lively was hired only for a particular project.
It's a fucking carnival, bro.
I know. Yeah, they're carnival workers. It's
Come
true.
on.
The production company could not assign Lively to other projects. It had no right to any of her time beyond what was necessary to accomplish that project and what was outlined in the offer letter. Lively, not the production company, would have the choice of whether to contribute the additional hours.
Did she not sue It Ends With Us Movie LLC? Is that not one of the parties? Because maybe that was a part of the problem.
Yeah, that's who is still being sued.
It Ends With Us Movie LLC.
That's right.
So I just don't understand it. Like this is so baffling to me from a legal perspective because It Ends With Us LLC is a temporary company. It doesn't have any existence. Like her loan-out company is her loan-out company, and it is the one she uses for every production as an actor.
But Wayfair is also being sued.
Yeah, I understand that because they're the parent company. But if she's suing It Ends With Us Movie LLC, then that just I don't understand how that there isn't that relationship that he's saying doesn't exist because It Ends With Us LLC itself only has run of production.
Yeah, it's only one production.
It doesn't have any other existence beyond that.
That's a good point. Maybe you should phone the judge.
I'm gonna get him on the line, bro. I'm going to call up somebody in Hollywood and tell
Your
me to get...
Honor, I believe you've gotten it wrong.
I'm going to get Dougie on the line. Say, Dougie, get me to your brother. I need to talk to, your brother. What's his name? Louis, right? Dougie, get Louis on the line. It's Louis and Dougie on Christmas morning, Go ahead.
His name's not Louis.
His name is Louis Lyman.
Really?
Yeah.
Who names the kid Louis anymore?
Dougie's parents.
We should bring it back. Doug and Louis.
Douglas and Louis, I think, is probably how the birth certificates look. Dougie and Louis.
Okay, continuing. It appears to be true and must be taken as true for purposes of this motion that once the parties agreed that shooting would start in May, Lively had no discretion but to devote up to 6 consecutive weeks to the film until production was complete, and that during that period, she could not offer principal photography services to anyone else. However, that cannot be enough to make her an employee. A movie cannot be produced without the simultaneous participation of a number of persons, including the director, cast, and crew. Thus, even assuming that plaintiff was expected to work a particular schedule, it is the very nature of the plaintiff's work that obliged her to work on certain days and at certain times. That's a citation. Another citation, the fact that an independent contractor is required to be at a job at a certain time does not eliminate her status as an independent contractor. Let's see, they're citing a case about a radio DJ. Even though this radio DJ was required to appear at the station during the hours of her show, otherwise there would be nothing but dead air. Also an opera singer. Let's see, skipping this.
Yeah, nothing like going to the opera without any opera singers.
For similar reasons, the fact that Lively could not, during those 6 weeks, participate... Oh, did I read that already?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Stop it.
No, this is different.
Oh.
For similar reasons, the fact that Lively could not, during those 6 weeks, participate in principal photography for anyone else also does not make her an employee. Depending on the circumstances, an inability to take on other work can support a finding of an employer-employee relationship. That is because the freedom to accept other work from other sources lies at the very heart of the independence inherent to independent contractors. In context here, however, the requirement that while principal photography took place, Lively's acting services would be exclusive to the production company does not reflect that she lacked the economic independence to be an independent contractor. The contract reflected nothing more than Lively's commitment to the time necessary to film her scenes alongside other actors in the film's crew. At any other point, she was free to accept additional work and to perform in other films, and she did so. The PGA letter, her PGA letter, indicates that she was, in quotes, shooting another film while she was working on post-production for this film. As counsel for the production company and Wayfair stated at the time, "We are willing to move the shoot from Boston to New Jersey to accommodate Blake. We understand how important that is for her. Although the film itself is set in Boston and we were planning to shoot there, we will make the adjustment." If the Wayfair parties wanted to shoot anywhere else, including in Las Vegas, they had to obtain Blake's prior approval. And that change of location, even if agreed to, would not be cost-free. This is another thing that they exploited, and they made it seem like they were accommodating her and getting her approval, and that somehow, to everybody online, was evidence that she was some demanding person who was making threatening, extortionate claims.
Meanwhile, it was just the contract being executed.
Yes,
yeah.
They had to.
Yeah, they had to.
And they knew that from the very beginning. The production company was required to provide her transportation, accommodation, and prerequisites subject to her approval, which would include private round-trip transportation for her, her 4 children, an assistant, 2 nannies and security, as well as approved first-class accommodations and first-class ground transportation. The remaining fact implicates the issue of control is... The remaining fact implicating the issue of control is that Lively, in her role as actor, was subjected to direction by Baldoni as director. When combined with other evidence of control, that fact might in certain circumstances make a person an employee, but it is not alone sufficient to confer on Lively the status of employee. A person need not be in control over all of the means and manner of production to be an independent contractor. Any complex product will require the involvement of persons with different specialties. In the case of a movie, in addition to a director, it will involve actors, cameramen, lighting experts, sound experts, and the like, that each of them may to some extent be subject to the direction and coordination of the director, does not ipso facto make each of them an employee. When he says ipso facto, you're supposed to drink.
Go ahead. Oh, right. Well, then I'd be just drunk on water.
Anytime the judge speaks Latin, you gotta take a shot. Okay, well, I know this is all very dull.
It is not. Everyone's enjoying themselves.
Okay, good.
And really appreciative of the work you do.
Thanks. Okay. Lively may have been subject to some extent to Baldoni's direction. In the end, it was He was the one to call for lights, to direct the camera, to start shooting, and to tell the actors when to act. But his discretion was also not unlimited. Baldoni, too, was subject to constraints on his creative freedom. He was required to direct according to the script and did not have control over the script. For him, to depart from the script, he needed Lively's assent. That's why it was a problem when he did that.
Are you guys hearing this? Do you fucking hear this shit?
Yes.
You guys scream about her fucking taking over the movie and doing this other shit. She had a contractual fucking He owns a contractual obligation to her.
He owns the company. He's supposed to know what the contracts say. Okay. If, for example, Lively did not want a scene to deviate from the screenplay in a particular manner, he could not direct her to do so. Lively admits that she helped to block the staging of every scene for shooting efficiency, that after the labor strikes, she was writing as the film was shooting, and that she watched the monitor between every take to be sure everything that ended up on screen from every department was best servicing the film and led the changes needed to get there when applicable. That's from her PGA letter. Lively accordingly participated with Baldoni in the creative collaboration and exchange of ideas on similar, albeit non-identical footing. Another of these read factors, skill. Lively's skill level tips heavily in favor of finding independent contractor status. So that she's so good. She's so good at the game. Undermined her case. Isn't that how it goes?
Yeah.
Lively's skill level tips heavily in favor of finding independent contractor status. The Second Circuit has stated that those in professions akin to that of architects, photographers, graphic artists, drafters are often found by courts to be highly skilled independent contractors. It has found that screenwriting is such a skilled position. Skill level, of course, is not determinative of employee status. A physician with years of training and specialized skills can still be an employee. Ship captains, managers of corporations can also be employees under certain circumstances. However, skill can connote a degree of control by the hired person over her employment. Listen, I'm not a robot.
English is her second language. It's also her first language.
An actress is a skilled position requiring talent and training not available on the job. The offer letter reflects Lively's skill as an actor and her level of economic independence. In addition to her compensation, she was accorded first position in on-screen credit and paid ads with her name in no event in a size. This is a quote. Excuse me.
Damn it.
She was accorded first position in on-screen credit and paid ads with her name in no event in a size of type smaller than the average size of letters of any other cast member in such paid ads, excluded ads. That's her agents are like, my client is big time. She gets the big letters.
Well, that's just so standard.
In recognition of her stature as an artist.
That would be like if you're a small timer, but you're the lead, you would have that language.
Let me drink. Hang on a second.
You all right?
I just gotta wet my whistle.
Whistle. I said, is wheezing spelled Wheezing?
I don't know.
I said wheezing.
And it was supposed to be wheezing?
And I did it as Weezing, and I've been like regretting it. And I haven't looked it up yet.
That's very Pauly Shore of you.
Yeah.
For those of you under 40.
Yeah. Well,
Pauly Shore used to be a big celebrity. What was his saying? Just wheeze something.
Yeah. He's a forgettable dude.
Okay. These provisions reflect the party's acknowledgement that Lively had name recognition and stature independent of whatever the film itself would bring. Okay, another one. Another read factor in making her an independent contractor. The source of the instrumentalities and tools and the hired party's role in hiring and paying assistants. The source of the instrumentalities and tools is also consistent with Lively's status as an independent contractor, where the plaintiff is dependent for her livelihood upon instrumentalities and tools provided by another. Like your work truck is your employer's work truck, right?
Yeah.
The plaintiff is more likely to be an employee. It is also normally understood, especially where the tools are of substantial value and the person who has been provided them will follow the directions of the owner in their use. A person who has no control or ownership over the tools of her trade has greater need of Title VII's protection. The undisputed facts here reflect that the production company contributed the set, the camera, the sound, the costume, and the crew. Lively could not appear in the film without a camera and sound technician to record her and a costume to wear. But that fact alone does not suggest that the production company was in control of the instrumentalities and tools to make this factor weigh in favor of Lively. I don't know. That sounds like a strong argument to me. The instrumentalities and tools also included Lively's celebrity and acting skills, for which the production company paid a large sum. Lively also, in quotes, called in favors with home design and fashion contacts to get items loaned, discounted, or gifted to save costs associated with both production design and costumes. And during post-production, she provided her own editors to participate in the editing of the film. And the fucking thanks she gets.
Yeah. She's sitting there mitigating the expense because she knows that there's some burden.
And the fucking ingrate
they use
of Justin Baldoni Jamie
they were
Heath
probably
to
thankful
scold her for it.
They were probably thankful at the time. They were probably cool with it about, that's so awesome. You're so great and all this other stuff. But then, yes, when it came to the smear, then, all this game.
She got them a bunch of like loans and discounts, and she had fashion contents to make their movie look better. She brought on her own editors, whatever the judge says, noting that the actor there provided some of the tools and instrumentalities of her own work. Moreover, while the production company owned the screenplay and enjoyed the authority to hire members of the cast and crew, there is evidence that it shared the practical ability to exercise that authority with Lively. The offer letter gave Lively approval rights over hair, makeup, and wardrobe personnel. You hear that? She didn't take over wardrobe.
She had control.
They offered it to her.
Yeah.
Okay. Lively led...
It's also such fucking bullshit.
I know, it's nonsense. Okay, Lively led the hiring of a freelance producer to help balance the set, and the hiring of a new intimacy coordinator and intimacy doubles to help block out the sensitive scenes for both safety and shooting efficiency. She personally called and or wrote emails to crew and put forth names for department head roles, including hair, makeup, director of photography, costume design, transportation, security, camera operators, etc. She also went through hundreds of casting tapes to help find the rest of the cast and personally identified the actor to play Jenny Bloom, her mother. She was involved in the firing of the first assistant director. These facts also point towards her independent contractor status.
No Two Trolls is doing Deanne's hair, and then Deanne is updating No Two Trolls on the chat. Isn't that cool?
That's neat.
Yeah.
That's so dope. You guys are hanging out together?
They're hanging out.
I'm jealous.
I know. You got to go to New Zealand to be a part of that.
Did you guys drink when the judge spoke Latin? You're supposed to drink. The ability to hire others to run a business is evidence of the type of considerable independence and discretion that supports a finding of independent contractor status. Okay. All of this and more is saying that she's an independent contractor.
Yeah. You can skip the rest if you want. If you want to get to
the meat and potatoes.
The prime rib.
Another one, I'll just say, like, just to summarize, that the duration of the relationship and whether the hiring party has the right to assign additional projects to the hired party. They did not have the ability to just like put her on another project. So there's that. There's also the method of payment is another one that they considered. That's another Reed factor. There's also the amount of time that she spent that they factored in. She said her short-term contract makes that seem like she is an independent contractor. But you said that the production company itself is a short-term production company, that they're project by project. So maybe that's why you got to put a phone call into the judge and let him know that he got that part. Maybe he didn't consider it.
It's just crazy to me. I mean, she can't be an employee of something that no one can be an employee. It kind of like turns every single human being that's hired on that production as an independent contractor. But I guarantee you that they were withholding taxes.
The method of payment, they're saying when a person is paid on the basis of projects completed rather than hours worked, that is suggestive also of independent contractor status.
Agreed.
Let me see. Oh, whether the work is part of the regular business of the hiring party. Finally, there's no dispute that the Wayfarer parties were in the business of producing films and that Lively's work related to that business objective. The Second Circuit has cautioned, however, that whether a hiring party is in business indicates nothing about whether the hired party was an employee of that business, and that this factor will generally be of little help in this analysis. Let's see. She enjoyed the economic independence to walk at any moment.
No, she didn't.
No, but listen, the judge is saying, don't argue with the judge. He didn't even finish his sentence.
Fuck him.
She enjoyed the economic independence to walk at any moment, with the only consequence being that she would potentially be in breach of contract.
Well, that's what that doesn't make. Oh, come on.
Okay.
Employees have more
This
rights. Employees have more rights.
Let me not skip this. Let me just read this whole thing. Okay. The balance.
Smash my glass and say, I quit.
Don't.
They got more rights than I do, or than she would.
Don't you quit me.
I wouldn't be liable.
Oh, no, wait. So I can't quit you. Don't you die on me is what it. Fuck.
Don't you die on me.
What am I even doing anymore? Okay, the balance of the Reed factors. Okay, this is his summary you've all been waiting for. Analyzing the factors and the relationship as a whole, the relevant considerations overwhelmingly point to the direction of Lively being properly classified as independent contractor. Lively is a highly skilled artist who agreed to contribute her acting skills and name recognition to a single purpose entity for the single term limited project. For equity in the project with heavily negotiated approval rights over her own performance and key aspects of the project, and with the ability to accept and perform other work outside of the short 6-week window during which her presence on set was necessary for the purpose of creative collaboration. Not only did she reserve substantial contractual control over her participation in the film, but she exercised that control. The court need not rely on her statements in the PGA letter that she produced every moment of this film, that's a quote, to see that her role far exceeded that of a traditional employee. She played a part in hiring and firing assistants, negotiated for the relocation of filming to be closer to her home, rewrote the script, conducted meetings with all department heads and the studio, oversaw a team of editors, and played a central part in shaping the film's look, marketing, and release. She enjoyed the economic independence to walk at any moment, with the only consequence being that she would potentially be in breach of contract, and she exercised that independence in negotiating the terms under which she would return to work. She also enjoyed equity in the film, ensuring that her compensation would be based not just on her own work, but on the film's success as a whole. There is limited case law bearing directly on the status of an actor as an independent contractor under the federal anti-discrimination laws, but the court's conclusion is consistent with the case law that does exist. This part is interesting, though. She enjoyed the economic independence to walk at any moment, with the only consequence being that she would potentially be in breach of contract. What are the other consequences? Like imprisonment?
Well, what is it?
Imminent death?
What is the consequence of an employee?
I know. Exactly.
There are none.
You can walk. You're just...
In fact, the IC in this situation has more liability, more at stake, is more restricted by virtue of their exposure than an employee. As an employee, I'd be like, fuck you and walk off. Sue me. What are you going to do? You know? Unless there's an employee contract that says I can't quit without notice, which is rare. Because then it goes both ways. I'm not talking about sexuality here.
Okay, so I'm skipping 2 pages, but this is page 76, where she talks about what... Judge Lyman is talking about what Lively's arguments for her being an employee are. Okay? And I thought this was interesting.
Yeah.
Lively's argument relies primarily on a single case to argue the contrary. But upon close analysis, it does not support her claims. The plaintiff in Makarova versus United States was widely regarded as the world's best prima ballerina. She performed in productions at the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts in Washington, D.C. She sued the Kennedy Center under the Federal Tort Claims Act after a piece of scenery fell on her during a production. Which sucks. But it's interesting that that's the case that she cited.
Baldoni says, so the more famous, powerful the actress, the less protections they have. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're literally more exposed than employees, but don't have any protection on top of it. It's wild.
But the reason why Blake Lively's argument fails, where she cites this ballerina who sued the Kennedy Center, or whatever, the government that runs the Kennedy Center, for a workers' compensation, is because it was workplace injury. There's a lot more case law to support that than what Blake Lively's citing. Anyway, skipping... Because Lively was an independent contractor, the Wayfair parties are entitled to summary judgment on their Title VII claims. Okay? Then there's the business about the California law. And this is interesting. The Wayfair parties also argue that Lively was an independent contractor and not an employee under the California's business-to-business exception, such that her Section 1102.5 retaliation claims must also be rejected. Under California law, as under federal law, whether an individual is an employee or independent contractor is a question of law. Unless the determination depends upon a dispute of material fact. Similar factors to those that compel the conclusion that Lively was an independent contractor for the purpose of Title VII also require rejecting her claim under California labor law. So all of the reasons that I stated, that Judge Lyman stated, apply to this. And I went through it, and you don't have to go through it.
Right, you don't have to do it again, yeah.
So we are going to skip several pages. This part is interesting. Extraterritoriality. So she also lost the California law claims because she was saying that some very fundamental things happened in California that tie them to the California law. And so they're arguing whether she did or did not. But I was wondering if you think this is a good place to stop.
Well, we have 10 more minutes to go. By the way, I guess I'll just say that bar any illness or otherwise, we're going to go all week to finish this, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll be back tomorrow.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
So we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll be back on Wednesday as scheduled, and Thursday if we need to, and then Friday. But we're going to go back. We're going to come back tomorrow just so that we don't just so that, we can get through it. I want to get through it this week. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, we can just go to chat for a while. You want to do that?
Yeah, great.
All right, so we're going to finish this tomorrow. What page are we on?
82.
We're on page 82. So we might finish tomorrow. Probably not.
82 of 152.
I'm going to be ranting like a lunatic tomorrow again.
Maybe you won't be.
I don't know. This
Maybe
chat's
you'll
got me
wise
pretty
up and let it slide,
Wise up? Oh, wow.
Now you're going to start ranting at me.
Oh, wow. Listen to that.
Now the target's on me.
Wise up.
Wise up, she says.
People love my passion, Angela. It's it's Scorpio in form, man.
So what's in the chat, bro?
Oh, you're not taking over chat? Okay.
Well, I am. I have to do some housekeeping.
It's been a lot of chat. Let me go. Let me see.
I have to.
Well, a scientist and Palette have been going at it. They're kind of just in a wrestling match. It's been fun to watch. I'm not going to tell you who I think is winning. But I think the person who I think is winning probably knows who I think is winning.
You can just say it. You can just pick your favorites.
Let me see. Let me see. SH is not moving forward because he found at law that she is a contractor under FEHA. ICs are not covered. He actually says he does not have to find on SH. And he didn't find on SH.
That's right.
Even if he has opinions on it.
Yep.
His opinions are not findings.
He's a judge in a court of law.
Yeah.
The law has to apply.
And look, I don't think anyone, reasonably would argue. And we have a friend of our lives called Junk Farm who was successful in an SH claim where he took down a six-figure settlement from his SH claim, and he says that the SH that she endured was far worse than what he brought to the court and prevailed with. So it's up to a jury, man. You keep thinking that it's up to you keep thinking that it's up to the judge in this situation, and it's not. The judge found that SH didn't apply based on jurisdiction and on independent contracting. And that's it. And yes, he had some opinions, which again, I've always said about this. The SH in this case has never been the central part of this case, the central item, or focus. And in my opinion, which is not relevant, which does not carry any weight whatsoever to what happened or how people felt during it. In my opinion, the SH was on the milder form of things. It was inappropriate. It was shitty.
No, it was not on the milder form of SH.
In my opinion.
It was on the mild. If you're talking about SA, yeah, she did not.
I'm not talking about SA. I'm talking about SH. And I'm saying that as far as harassment goes, his harassment was, in my view, which is not a qualified view, and which does not mean that my view can
I'm very surprised
express
to hear you
their
say
opinion
this because trying to repeatedly kiss someone who does not want to be kissed is really extreme.
I was speaking more about, well, yes, and Jacqueline mentioned this, and I'm very curious to when we get to this, which we hope to do by tomorrow, by tomorrow or by Wednesday. But Jacqueline apparently suggests that the judge had some pretty strong opinions about the slow dance there, the slow dance scene there. Look, as far as that scene goes, yeah, okay. So in that scene there, I think that he was highly inappropriate and offensive.
Also, describing your penis in a work meeting.
Yeah.
That's not, I think that's pretty clearly.
She went forward with the movie, and this was prior to her going on with the movie. I think that while
whether she tolerated his SH doesn't mean that he did not SH her.
I didn't say, and I didn't say it wasn't SH. I'm talking about the severity of it. And so as the severity goes, I think that was like one of those moments where you're just like, excuse me moment, and not a moment where you're like aghast, where you can't move forward, where you can't trust a person, but where you're like, man, the audacity, man, you got some fucking balls, So I think, now look, this is an opinion, because when you think about the conversation itself, he revealed by his endorsement, he revealed that he was circumcised. And that was inappropriate because he's talking about his penis.
I don't know what is his problem.
Well, I mean,
he's talks like that.
Look, I mean, the guy's
it's why it's so easy to assign like malicious intent, because who the fuck behaves that way on accident? You know what I mean? Like, this guy's obviously a high achiever. He's reached like this, very high level in his chosen profession. You would expect that somebody like that knows how to talk, knows how to conduct themselves. That if they fuck up this badly, that they're doing it probably on purpose.
That's right.
That's why people are assuming that he's up to no good. Because why would somebody at his level, working at the level that he's working at, make such a bad mistake, like a genuine mistake?
Well, I also say, like, if you sit there and you say, oh, you know what, are you planning on getting your kid cut? Or whoever brought it up. According to the judge, if we haven't read it yet, but according to the judge said that she brought it up. I don't know what the truth is there, but if the conversation was simply like in that moment, this is prior to them even going into rehearsal. In that moment, he's like, are you going to get the baby cut? And then she's like, I don't know. We haven't decided yet. And he's like, well, I can endorse it's not what people think it is. It's fine. He's now revealed that he's circumcised. He's talking about his penis to his subordinate. It is an inappropriate thing to do, without question.
He could have also.
Let me finish this. I just want to make this point before you continue. When you put that into the context of the rest of her experience, so when you sit there and you go like,
the judge says that too.
Yeah. So if you're sitting here and you're
having that it's like the whole scope of the experience is what matters, not every single little.
If I'm having a conversation with you and one thing is slightly offensive. Mm-hmm. And I'd be like, okay, whatever.
You overshared.
And then you fucking do it again. I'm like, God, this guy. Yeah. And then, that's when it becomes a list. It becomes a list because of the continued offenses, the new ones. And so when you look at them as isolated offenses, you look sexy in that garment, right? Whatever that wardrobe is. Yes, it can certainly be, especially again, coming down from the owner of the company, the director of the movie.
But this is another thing. I want to go back to the audacity of that circumcision conversation. There's a lot of people who have been like sort of conflating the offense of it.
Yeah.
Nobody cares that he was discussing circumcision. If they had a conversation like that in a work meeting, fine. It's weird, but it's fine. But what he did was he personalized it.
Correct.
Just like when he was
when he made it about his penis.
When he made it about his own genitals, yes. Right? And the other time, like when he was talking about a sex scene and he personalized it and he said, well, me and my wife do this. Like, that's where it becomes extremely inappropriate, right? He doesn't need to personalize these things. And that is why it becomes offensive, right?
Yeah.
When he was describing a sex scene that he had written in the film, and he said that he basically wanted to put on film with Blake Lively what he does with his own wife at home.
Yeah.
That's extremely inappropriate.
100%.
So she's like, what? I'm going to be play acting your bride in the movie?
Right.
Like, this is like
I'm playing Colleen Hoover's character, not your fucking wife.
It's some weird voyeurism kink you have that now you've cast me in, Like, that's where it's fucking strange.
you know, so the accumulation factor, right? You keep adding to the pot, and you keep adding water to the bucket. The bucket flows over, and that's essentially what happened, I think, with Blake Lively, because it wasn't just again her own experience. She's sitting there going through these instances, seeing the Jenny Slate instance. They're having their conversations about the discomfort that they're feeling on the set. Isabella Ferrar and her situation. Then they hear about the toxicity around Alex Sachs and the temper tantrum that he threw there.
Yeah, so
and
weird.
You just have this accumulating effect of like, well, fuck, this guy's just bullshit. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. When they talk, when these fans of Baldoni, or these haters of Blake Lively, however you want to put it, when they show up and they start talking about her persuading people to leave Justin Baldoni on social media, to unfollow him on social media, to me, I just find that to be completely incredible. I think that Justin Baldoni's behavior is what led to that. I think if one person says, I'm not going to follow this guy, I'm not going to let my reputation be intermingled with this guy, and I say that to you, and then you decide based on that conversation to do the same thing because I've made sense to you in some way in terms of my perspective about how I want to protect myself in terms of my association with somebody, then it's still your fucking prerogative to do that. And it's not by my persuasion, it's by your experience. And then it's absurd to think that we can't be influenced by others around us.
This is really interesting. So Buzzy Buzz is with us, right?
Yeah, I know.
And this is a dig on Blake, but this is absolutely applicable to Baldoni. And I just think it's so interesting when these people don't understand what they're saying. Okay, this is like just think for a second. Buzzy Buzz says, can't claim to be a victim when you're the one who set the tone on the set. Well, what about the director, Justin Baldoni? Where is his responsibility? If Blake Lively can't claim to be a victim when she's the one who set the tone on the set, right? LOL, as you say. How come that doesn't apply to Justin Baldoni? How the hell is he being victimized when he is the guy who runs the production company? He runs the set. He's the director. He's the producer. He's all the things. So at what point how come he can claim to be the victim when he's the one who sets the tone on the set? Like, is he never going to be responsible to himself or his company or anybody else for losing control?
Yeah, well, this is I've said this. How many times have I said this? Everybody wants to talk about her stealing the movie or taking control of the movie. And the reality is they lost control of the movie. And they lost control of the movie early. Again, I'm going to refer to Ange Giannetti. And the reason I refer to her deposition is because she also called Blake Lively a terrorist, or admitted to calling Blake Lively a terrorist in her deposition. So it appears, despite the fact that she later texted her and praised her to the moon, and said that it was through her blood, meaning Blake Lively's blood, sweat, and tears, that the movie opened so hugely and was so damn successful. She credited that all to Blake Lively later, but in Ange Giannetti's deposition, she called the set being run as a shit show. Mm-hmm. Now, let me tell you something, man. When you're a big giant movie star whose entire reputation is going to depend or is going to be potentially affected by the quality of the movie that you're making in that moment, right? If you see a shit show happening, there's going to be panic, man. That's when these fucking actors and shit, they get on the phone with their agents and they're like, dude, I'm a big fucking giant star. I might not be a big giant star if this thing falls flat. So they get involved in that moment. Their representatives get involved in that moment. Producers outside, and studio executives get involved in that moment because there's so much at stake, not just, the actor, but obviously the property itself, the investment in the property. Remember that everyone talks about Wayfarer's contribution financially, but there are two investments in movies primarily. And the first is the production budget. In this case, it was approximately $26 million, which is a medium budget in Hollywood, but a substantial budget in the genre. And then the P&A budget is typically that amount or more, depending on the size of the budget, or the budget times two, right? So if you have a $10 million budget, you'll normally have a $10 million P&A, typically. Although in some cases it could exceed because the $10 million budget is relatively small in today's world. Mm-hmm. So you might have a $30 million P&A, and P&A stands for print and ads, and it is the marketing budget, but it also is the distribution budget, meaning that it accounts for the DCP distribution, that's the digital cinema prints and how they get distributed, the contracts and legal that goes down into creating the exhibitor agreements and so on and so forth. So,
somebody said that Blake Lively was only suing Justin Baldoni because of her bruised ego, and Fel Baumling said, no, she's suing Justin because he was too stupid / paranoid to realize he was sitting on a gold mine and should not hire a firm to run down his own lead actress before the movie even came out.
It's not bruised ego. It's an attack on her character. It's an attack on her future, on her reputation, which she had a very fucking good reputation.
There's laws in place that protect people from that kind of attack.
I keep telling people about this. They're like, oh, what about the Christy Flaw? That woman literally got married in a fucking plantation, and everyone found out about it, and it practically didn't harm her reputation at all. In fact, she went on to end up breaking box office records for It Ends With Us for movies in a genre.
And some thanks from Justin Baldoni for that.
People you want to believe that her fucking interview with Kirsty Flaw, or that about the rumors about her leaving Justin Baldoni on social media, was more substantial to her reputation than getting married in a fucking plantation. We got to put our thinking caps on, bro.
So you're saying, so when that happened, she didn't experience this reputational dive?
Yes, because you know why?
Because it wasn't manufactured.
No, not that, but there wasn't a machine behind it.
Yeah, that's right.
So that you don't have a situation where you have an entire fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars a month being spent, 6 figures a month being spent on multiple firms.
So tell me how it doesn't...
To make sure that is well publicized so that not her ego is bruised, but her reputation is destroyed.
When his publicists are saying Justin Baldoni wants to know that she can be buried, and then he sends us emails saying we would need something like this, and it is a smear campaign against Hailey Bieber, okay? And then Wayfair pays them $30,000 a month for 3 consecutive months at least.
Yes.
Check delivered, invoice paid.
Dude, they're still paying them because they're paying all their fucking legal bills.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that did not it didn't affect the way that people are viewing Blake Lively on social media when there's this massive PR team?
Listen how foolish Buzzy is. Her advertising her own alcohol with DV Movie was such a genius move, Dale. The movie made $400 million.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with your brain?
It was not a failed campaign, guys.
It was not a failed campaign. What is wrong with your brain? $400 million.
Hey, you should be nice to them.
It was a $26 million budget and it made $340 million in the box office. You want to stand here and pretend that she's some kind of bonehead marketer? Alcohol is involved in every fucking movie release ever. And by the way, Justin Baldoni was pumping a fucking triple sec or some kind of bullshit on his fucking Instagram at the same time. But you don't fucking put that into account, do you, Buzzy?
If there was a smear campaign from the other side, Justin
Use your
Baldoni,
fucking head.
While he was playing an abuser, right? He was marketing energy drinks. Do you think maybe somebody would have gotten his case about that? I don't know. I mean, it's just as reasonable, which means it's unreasonable.
How much money does it make doesn't matter. You're just broken, dude. You're broken. LOL. You're broken, dude. You're just broken. If you don't think that how much money it makes doesn't matter when you're talking about the marketing, then I just don't know what to tell you, except that you're obviously just absolutely fucking broken. You know? You sit here and you try to characterize us as having some kind of bias that we want to create make a victim out of Blake Lively. I don't give a shit about Blake Lively. I do care about what the fuck is happening to her, though, because it's so egregious.
Oh, a scientist said it was $45,000 a month. It was $15,000 a month just for Tag and $30,000 a month for Jed.
Yeah.
For him to do absolutely nothing, according to him.
Monitor.
Yeah, he's did just monitor.
One-man shop.
Yeah, of course.
Making fucking $30,000 a month doing nothing. Okay with what, Buzzy? That she had fucking an alcohol? You're foolish, bro. You're absolutely foolish. Let me tell you something, dude.
No, but you made a really good point.
Alcoholics hang out with people drinking alcohol. Alcoholics do.
Dale, you made
people who have survived abuse, they hang out with people who have alcohol present or alcohol problems. Even.
You made a really good point, though. Buzzy says, you think people are supposed to be okay with it because how much money it made, LOL. Well, you made a really good point that every single film release has product tie-ins.
Everyone.
And a lot of those are alcohol because they have parties and they have rap parties.
On R-rated, for sure.
Promotional parties, and they have, where they bring in a bunch of influencers and they all have cocktails and it happens
all
to
the time.
And they're just exploiting your ignorance about how this sort of stuff goes.
Yeah.
If just to stoke your rage about it. But it's very, very fucking normal.
Yeah. And besides that, it doesn't matter. What does it got to do? What does that got to do with whether or not he retaliated? What has that got to do with whether or not these people committed sexual harassment on a set or in the workplace? What does that got to do with anything? You're just bringing up nonsense to try to create more nonsense out of it. And this is the problem with this fucking case and the people who are following it like you. You just want to create a monster out of somebody for nothing, you know? And it shows your motive, bro. It shows that you don't have a clear motive here. Because the question is whether or not she was retaliated against. Because if she was, that's fucking wrong, dude.
Hey, I have a question for you. Do you want to continue without me? Because I have dog duty out there.
No.
You can hear somebody fussing.
All right, you guys. It's been a party. No, it has. I had a good time, you know? I mean,
I did too.
Ultimately, I had a really good time.
And
Thank you for reading for us. We'll be back. You know, normally we're Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but tomorrow we're going to be back. Buzzy, you're welcome to come back and make the fool out of yourself you're making tonight. Because honestly, bro, it's just what comes out of your mouth is beyond ridiculous. You guys should go have a fool's party because it's just absolutely fucking ridiculous. But please come back and spew some more stupidity with us. We'll gladly throw it back at you. As for the rest of you, especially the folks who hang out with us on the regular, thank you so much for hanging out with us again. For those of you who hung out with us silently or otherwise during our Neptune presentation this Sunday, thank you for joining us. This Sunday we have Pluto we're preparing Pluto right now. Looking very forward to that presentation for you guys. Yeah, man, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Had a wonderful time with you tonight. And you know, guys, if you have any suggestions about our coverage, please feel free to reach out to us, and we will certainly consider them as usual. All right, love you. Good night, guys.
Good night.